show. I'm alongside Zachary Wilson with Isaac Woods and Jonathan Mayward here as your football pregame show of the week. But first, let's look at some results from the week for St. James Athletics. First of all, girls volleyball, nice week, 5-0 in their tournament this week. In the cross-country meet, girls, all the top 5 finishers were from St. James and the winner for the boys, Michael Bianco. So love to see that for St. James. In the Fat Cat tournament, St. James coming off the Aquinas win in soccer last week. The boys took third in the Fat Cat tournament this week for St. James Academy. And finally, the big winner of the week, St. James Academy football, 44-28. St. James really won by a lot more than the score shows for the Thunder. A dominant victory over the Bishop Maystack. Absolutely crucial win for the Thunder to start season out. Jonathan, you were there broadcasting the game with me. How did you feel like St. James played in that game against Bishop?
I think it was really good. I think they really showed up with everything they had. It didn't really pulled out. I know there were a few concerns going in. You know, it was just a lot of uncertainty going in. A lot of guys that this was kind of their first season varsity. Obviously, nice to be sure. First year as the St. James quarterback. We heard a lot of things, a lot of good things from him coming out of camp. But I think we showed up really well. The team looked really in sync, offense and defensively. It really looked like they were playing together. And I think, like you said, the scoreboard didn't show just how one-sided the game was. St. James kind of gave it away there a little bit at the end. But I really like what I saw, and I think that we're going to be pretty good going forward.
Absolutely. Tyson Beshore, you talked about him a little bit. Really, really nice performance for St. James. 4 touchdowns in that game. Really loved what we saw from Tyson Beshore in that game.
All right, yeah, Parker Chase, a big keeper in that game, 170 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. He was just burning the HDBs left and right. And yeah, Sam Mason, same 104 yards, 2 touchdowns. They were really good.
Yeah, I agree with you, Isaac. I think that really was a great showing from 2 star St. James receivers in Sam Mason and Parker Chase. Parker just looked physically dominant out there. He was blowing past defenders with ease, his routes looked nice and crisp. And Sam Mason did a really good job, I know, like you pointed out in the broadcast as well, kind of finding that soft spot in the zone and sitting right down in it. And then obviously the miraculous touchdown catch they had in the end zone. It really kind of capped off the night and what was a great night for both of the up-and-coming receivers that are going to have big seasons if St. James wants to have success this year.
This past week, I was impressed the most by our defensive line, taking advantage of the young VHO line, getting in the backfield, making things hard for Marco to make plays. As I said in last week's show, it was going to be a very pivotal point to the game that our D-line create pressure, and they did just that. They put up 6 sacks, big defensive players like Max McQuay and young Andrew Moyer making plays in the backfield, really making things difficult for the Stacks.
Yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit more, but the group I was most impressed with, when we talk about the D-line, we talked a little bit about the O-line last week in our show, but this O-line on the St. James side, there have been a lot of question marks, a lot of inexperience, but I personally felt like St. James did a great job on the O-line. I don't know how you guys felt, but I thought they did a really good job. Lots of young strides from them. I thought they were really good.
For sure, you know, they said the game is won in the trenches, and I think the St. James O-line really, you know, like you said, well, hearing from a lot of the players, especially on the defensive side of the ball, coming out of these past few weeks of practice, kind of a theme has been, our offensive line might be a little shaky, but it didn't really look like that in the game on Friday. The run blocking was solid. John Tujek averaging probably upwards of 4 or 5 yards a carry. And that just helps balance out the play, because when the run game is working, again, the defense has to put more guys in the box. And that opens up the pass game a little more. And so I think if they can keep doing their job and giving Tyson time to throw and giving him a clean pocket to throw out of. I mean, we saw his accuracy and his touch in the game on Friday, multiple throws on the move, off his back foot. I think good things can happen for the Thunder. They've got to keep playing. They can't take this next game off in the finals.
Absolutely. And, you know, kind of hammering home that point you were talking about there, Jonathan, about the trenches. We just saw Colorado and Nebraska last night. I know you're real excited about how that game went, but Shedeur Sanders, he had no time to throw the ball in that game. That kind of is what I think Marco Rodriguez looked like Friday night for Bishop Haynes. Just no time to throw the ball. He's a good quarterback, obviously, but there's just nothing there for him every time. Meanwhile, on the St. James side, Tyson Beshore played a great game. A lot of that to do to his O-line, and obviously his receivers stepped up, like I said.
Yeah, and senior DB Ben Drury was clamps on Terry Jackson all night. A very speedy receiver. Didn't have any deep balls. They were going into short out routes all game, back-to-back, multiple plays. Yeah, great job by the secondary. Noah Hornback as well, getting an interception, just missing another one. Couldn't catch out. Wasn't very happy about that.
Yeah, you could tell he was not happy about that drop for St. James and lots of those quick outs, like you said there, Isaac. And looking at that game last week, who do we think was our offensive player of the week? I think personally we should go Tyson Beashore, your quarterback for St. James, 4 touchdowns on the week. He looked absolutely spectacular for the Thunder.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people might say, oh, you're picking the quarterback, but quarterback's the most difficult position in football, and they are the leader of the offense. And I think especially a quarterback that's never played a snap of St. James football comes out and scores 5 touchdowns in the first half. I feel like it's hard to make a case for any other player other than the quarterback to be the offensive player of the game.
Yeah, Tyson looked really good. He hit all his deep balls, and yeah, he scrambled when he needed to. Yeah, he settled in that pocket well, mainly going for Parker and St. since they were open all night.
I was really impressed. I think Andrew Moyer on the D line, starting D tackle as a junior, first game ever started. He played really well, got a couple sacks in there, got a lot of tackles stuffing up the middle.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a small interior on Bishop Gage. We're going to see a lot better interiors this week against Aquinas. That's going to be a real test for St. James. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. But Andrew Moore played a really, really good game for St. James. Really impressed. And that D-line as a whole, they all played really good. Really loved what we saw there for St. James.
Yeah, for sure. And I think they were not only making plays inside the box, but they were controlling the line of scrimmage really from sideline to sideline. There were multiple plays where D-linemen were flying for the flats to make plays. Lots of times where either the outside linebacker or an edge was setting the edge on some of those outside runs, switching them and cut back in, and then allowing the other side or coming over. So I just think it was really, like you said, Zach, really complete game from the defensive line, and that takes a lot of pressure off the secondary. I know we were talking about how Ben Drury had a really good game, but when the D-line isn't giving the quarterback time to throw, that takes a lot of pressure on the secondary. They don't have to come for as long, maybe a little bit out of position because the quarterback's probably not going to deliver his best throw off balance with guys in the face.
Yeah, as you said, Aiden Drowning and Max really did set that edge. We didn't really see any pitches or tosses go for long yardage. Yeah, I really like that. They really set that edge.
Yeah, and they had a tough matchup. Marco Rodriguez at quarterback, that's a kid. You saw it on the game. He loves to get outside the pocket, loves to move around, kind of improvise, create something. Not dissimilar for Beashore, actually, but St. James D-line did a much better job really containing Rodriguez outside the pocket than the Bishop PhD line did against Tyson Beashore for St. James. Certainly was a big factor in the win for the Thunder. And now looking ahead, this next game for St. James against St. Thomas Aquinas, 25-21 victory against Blue Valley West. Very good game last week for St. Thomas Aquinas. St. James obviously just won against Bishop Gage. Last year, St. Thomas Aquinas got the win 21-6. Certainly not St. James' best showing. You hope the offense can produce a lot more fireworks this next week against Aquinas. But St. Thomas Aquinas, that's always a rivalry game. Really high stakes in that one. St. James, they play a little bit different against that Aquinas option game. And that's going to be something to watch for, certainly, in this game.
Yeah, for sure. St. James normally with a 4-2-5 base defense, they like to play out of that nickel, have that extra DB, gives them a little more flexibility in the passing game. Not against Aquinas. In Aquinas, they go to a 4-3. They bring an extra outside linebacker in to help them with run support. They play cover 3 over the top. It's just a little bit different from the normal defense. Nothing too drastic, but I think that interior defensive line that we were talking about of Moyer and Leo is going to be even more important in stopping those runs up the middle, especially because they like to do, obviously they have the trickery with the flex bone offense, the triple option, but a lot of times it's just a quick maybe handout to the fullback up the middle, and I think it's going to be really important that Moyer and Lero and even Drowning and McQuaid, who are the ends, are ready for that and can stop that before it gets 6 yards on the field.
Yeah, and as you said, that flex bone very hard to defend. Aquinas has that dominant O-line, usually always spearing right at the D-line, know what they're doing all the time. And yeah, we'll see lots of quarterback rollouts. We've got to set the edge there. We'll be looking for that toss out to run there.
Yeah, I think our front seven should be well prepared to handle this. Most of them, back from last year, know how to defend this. They know what Aquinas does. They'll be ready for the challenge, and I can't wait to see how they play.
And Jonathan touched on it a little bit, but all new linebackers and D tackles for the most part in this game, not a lot of experience in those positions. That really matters in an option game like this against Aquinas.
Yeah, for sure. That in the box play is going to be extra important, like you said, because if the run game up the middle isn't working, then St. James can you can't really predict it, but you can kind of lean on the fact that Aquinas might try and go outside a little more, maybe if the up the middle run isn't working in the first half, looking to shut off the outside in the second half. But I think even with all this talk about the run, you still do have to be wary of the pass. Even though they don't do it a lot, sometimes they'll catch you with that over the top. They'll blow you to sleep by running it 7 times in a row. And a lot of times they like to open drives with it to really catch you off guard and say, no, it's Aquinas, they're big, you're looking to stop the run. They try to take your head off with that first play. So St. James Bruce is just really going to have to lock in on this rivalry game. I think the team's going to be ready and should be a good one.
Absolutely. That option game you touched on a bit, it is so hard to defend, guys. Triple option, they run some power options, speed options. Sometimes the QB sneaks in. They really struggled with that last year, if you remember. But it's such a good offense for a team in the high school level to run because you don't need a lot of talent. It's really about the smarts. So St. James, it's going to be a battle of the mentals out there. It's something really to watch with those inexperienced guys. That's going to be something that's going to be difficult for St. James. But Aquinas, they have a lot of inexperienced guys on their team as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the St. James offense plays this week after struggling heavily offensively last year against Aquinas. It'll be interesting to see how they can rebound off last week and see if they can do better. They've got to go against some strong defensive line in Aquinas. Got Ian, Joey Goodnow, and Kylan Curtis, and just see how they can play against them. The O-line can hold up and create time for Tyson.
Yeah, and I think as long as Tyson's able to just hit his playmakers of Parker Chase Samuels in space, I think the Thunder offense is going to be in good shape because we saw what they were able to do last week when you just get them the ball in position to go and play. So I think as long as that can continue, they're in good shape.
Yeah, that'll be really good to see. Now since we have a gameplay, it's going to be some Parker Chase might get a little more attention on the defensive side. So Alec Jen, Jr. might be more part of the offense this week. Or John Tujek had a great game. He might get a lot more carries.
One thing to watch this game too, Tyson B. Short. He really did pretty much every throw. Nothing really went wrong. We haven't seen him face adversity in that St. James uniform. We know they're fighting at least some of this game against Aquinas. Obviously, we would assume he's capable of handling that. We haven't seen it at this level. So once things start going a little bad for the St. James offense, that's going to be a story to watch. How does this team respond to whatever adversity Aquinas brings? Because you know they're going to have a lot of key plays ready against the St. James area attack. And now on to our predictions for the week, our top 5 games of the week. We did this last week, did not air on the show unfortunately, but here are our picks from last week. We'll be keeping a running tally all season long. So Zach ended up 2-3, the guy that knows the most about high school football here, ending up at 2-3. Not a great look. Jonathan and Isaac both finishing 3-2, and I finished 4-1. So our first game of the week we're looking at here, Blue Valley West taking on Olathe West. Jonathan, who do you got in this one?
I'm going to take Olathe West, coming off a 54-6 win last week. I think they have a really complete team. 54-6 is pretty tough to argue with, so I'm going to go West.
Yeah, I'm going to also go with West. They had offensive and defensive presence last week. Blue Valley West did not have a whole lot of offensive power. I'm going with Olathe West.
I'm also going to go Olathe West. I think it's a big win. They did win 54-6. We talked about that. Against Shawnee Mission West, frankly, not a good team, but still one to watch. Blue Valley West, they lost 25-21 to Aquinas, so interesting to see how they'll do. Bounce back game for them against Olathe West, but I'm taking Olathe West.
I like Blue Valley West. I think they can rebound. I think they played a much tougher opponent than Olathe West. Olathe West obviously has great playmakers like Cameron Cruz and Tevin Gasaway, but I like Blue Valley West here. Tate Nagy just too much for the defense.
Yeah, Kansas Commit really showed out game 1. Our next game on the schedule here, Shawnee Mission Northwest against Blue Valley Northwest. I'll start in this one. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's the closest game we're picking this week. I'm going to Blue Valley Northwest. They won by 21 against North last week by a really low-scoring close game. I'm going to Blue Valley Northwest.
I like Shawnee Mission Northwest here. I feel like they're dominant running attack. Even though Blue Valley Northwest has experience playing Aquinas in their triple option, I think Shawnee Mission Northwest has a really good defense that can deal with Blue Valley Northwest offensive struggles they had last week. They started slow. So I like Northwest here. Shawnee Mission Northwest.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree as well. I'm going to go with Blue Valley Northwest as well. Obviously, that 21-point win over North last week. Even though North isn't the greatest team, I still think that's a good enough win. I think the team's good enough, obviously. Big left tackle, they do got blow up. Solid offensive line. They usually have to be athletes, so I'm going to go Blue Valley Northwest this one.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Blue Valley Northwest. Just that EKL power. Even though Blue Valley North isn't the best, they still are a solid team. I'm going to win with Blue Valley Northwest.
All right, so us three have all agreed on this one. Zach has been the loner on these first 2 picks. Let's see if that changes here. Biggest game of the week here, Wichita Northwest against Wichita East. Lots of fun square ones in this one. Zach, who do you got?
I have to go with Wichita Northwest here. They fell short against East twice last year, but I think this year they get better than them. They have a lot of returning talent, and they've got a really talented QB room. I think they find a way to win.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree. I'm gonna go Wichita East. You know, like you said, Wichita East did beat them twice last year. I didn't really know that, but I think that doesn't happen for no reason. Also, East coming off 48-0 victory. I think the shutout really speaks to how good the team is as well as playing at 48 points in a high school game in 40 minutes. Pretty impressive feats on the Phillies.
Yeah, as Johnny just said, that offensive power last week. I'm also going to go with Wichita East in this one.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to agree with Zachary here. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to pick Northwest. Great run game over there. Like you said, really good quarterback room as well. So I'm going Wichita Northwest. This is going to be the big game of the week.
Left side versus right side.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see who gets the best in that one. Next game we're picking here, Washburn Rural against Blue Valley. Blue Valley and EKL both St. James face off later on in the year. Isaac, who you got in this one?
I'm going with Washburn Rural. They were just a very good team last year in 6A. Very few losses. And Blue Valley has a very inconsistent offense over Washburn.
I'm going to go Blue Valley. This might be a little bit of an upset pick here, but I'm going Blue Valley. Brady Westfall, receiver, absolute stud over there at Blue Valley. They shut out Blue Valley Southwest last week, so I'm going Blue Valley.
I like Blue Valley here. Washburn Rural, good team last year. They play in a slightly worse conference, and they graduated a lot of talent. I like Blue Valley here. They're up in
St. Thomas Aquinas. A beautiful late summer evening night here in Overland Park as we continue our coverage of the EKL here on TVN. And a good evening, Thunder fans, as we welcome you into the booth here at St. Thomas Aquinas High School. The Thunder are taking on the Saints in this Week 2 matchup, both teams coming off wins last week. I am Will Nichols alongside Jonathan May. What can we look for tonight, Jonathan?
Well, this is always such a hyped-up game for both schools, really bringing out the school spirit for this rivalry, and we are looking for a great game.
Absolutely. Should be a good one out here tonight. Aquinas coming off their second state championship in school history, looking to defend that title. However, they will have to do it in 5A this year instead of 4A, as both St. James and St. Thomas Aquinas will be reclassifying to 5A this year.
Yes, it will be very interesting once the playoffs come around. This will be a huge indication on the kind of teams we will get this season, and maybe a preview of a future playoff matchup. We will see if the Thunder can stop the Saints triple option, or if the Saints can spoil the hype around Tyson B. Shore.
Thunder and Saints next on the Thunder Broadcasting Network. Stay tuned for the prayer and national anthem.
For our opening prayer and the presentation of the colors.
I feel like I need to turn myself.
Division Honor Guard for our national anthem. God our Father, you have created us to strive for the best. Grant to all athletes, coaches, officials, and fans strength to pursue excellence during this event. We pray for the safety of these athletes, protect them from injury and harm. And finally, dear Father, we pray for your grace, that you would provide us with the endurance to pursue our heavenly prize, eternal life in your Son. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
we welcome you back here on the Thunder Broadcasting Network as the national anthem just finished. Jonathan, what are some of the keys in this game for both teams?
Well, I think it's very similar to last week. It's going to be up to that St. James offensive line. I've been hearing a lot of things about the size of this Aquinas defensive line. I think it's going to be very important that the offensive line can hold for 3-4 seconds to allow Tyson to get those clean throws off. And along with that, just controlling the line of scrimmage in general, offensive and defensively. And then additionally on offense, attack the secondary. Very similar to Miege, this is kind of a smaller secondary, not a lot of talent back there. So as long as that O-line can hold, our receivers should be able to create a decent amount of separation. And then defensively, I think if we're going to have a great shot to win this game, it's going to be really important that we force a turnover, whether it be a fumble, an interception, a turnover on downs, just anything to get us that extra possession and take a possession away from them.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is an Aquinas team. They really thrived on turnovers last year, forced 20 turnovers. That's averaging out to a little around 2 a game or so for Aquinas, so that's really impressive. St. James wants to do better in that regard. You talked about the D-line play for St. Thomas Aquinas. Jonathan, working at 4 starters there, all over 200 pounds. Not a lot of teams in the EKL really can boast that, but St. James, their D-line really going to matter today. We see the coin toss here in front of us. 4 captains for St. Thomas Aquinas: LZ Slaughter, LaDrew Morrell, Will Callahan, and then also Joey Goodnow out there. We have a very big wind today, about 15 miles or so, heading from the top of your screen down to the bottom of your screen. Definitely big enough. It's probably going to affect how these quarterbacks are going to throw. And that really hurts St. James in this game. Aquinas isn't a team that throws a lot, so St. James being a team that likes to put the ball in the air a little more, they're going to potentially struggle more with that air today.
Yeah, for sure. And really this plays to Aquinas' advantage because, like I said, one of the things that the Thunder want to do is they want to attack that secondary, and if it's windy, that kind of affects their ability to have accuracy on those downfield passes.
Absolutely, and that quarterback for St. James, Tyson Beshore, he was absolutely electric week 1. You talked about it a little bit. 262 passing yards and 4 touchdowns, also added 26 on the ground. St. James needs him to have a great night again tonight. The biggest thing that game, no turnovers for Beshore. Really exciting for St. James.
Yeah, for sure. That's really how the Thunder have hurt themselves in the past, is they've turned the ball over. They've not given their offense a chance to really put a complete drive together, and they've had their defense on the field for too long. So I think if they can fulfill that again and have 0 turnovers and really take care of the ball, I think that they've got a great chance in this one.
Absolutely. Returners for St. Thomas Aquinas, Will Callahan and Tyler Bartell. A couple of the wing backers on this team returning. St. James has Ben Johnson kicking off here. And we're off. Looks like an end-over-end kick, and it will go out the back of the end zone. So Aquinas will pick up here at the 20-yard line. That triple option offense of St. Thomas Aquinas, really, really difficult to stop once they get going.
Yeah, it's going to be really important for the Thunder. And, you know, one of the things their scouting report was really good eye discipline. You can't really get fooled by where the ball is going to go. You have to make sure you watch the ball and not the players in the backfield.
Absolutely. The leader of that offense, junior Cal Arndt, the running back, fullback position, so he's going to be right behind the quarterback. He's going to get lots of dives tonight, some pitches as well, but he is a really, really good player. Somebody to keep an eye on for the Thunder tonight. Slaughter under center. He'll be almost exclusively under center tonight. Man in motion. They're going to give. It's going to be a keep, rather, by Slaughter, and he has brought down Aiden Dreiling in on the tackle. A great start for St. James defense.
For sure. I mean, Aiden Dreiling is one of those X factors that we talked about last week. A returning starter, played most of the season last year. He is going to have a really big game today, along with really that entire defensive line, if St. James wants a good chance at success here.
Yeah, Dreiling had a great week last week. 2 sacks in the winning effort for the Thunder over Bishop Miege, now 2nd down and 10. Man in motion, we're going to see that a lot. Give to Arndt. gets a few yards, still fighting forward. Tackle finally made. Brady Boyd's in there. And now 3rd and about medium for Aquinas.
And you see the Thunder, they don't play their normal defense against Aquinas. Normally they're in that 4-2-5 with cover 4 over the top. Not against Aquinas because they only really use one wide receiver. They'll have Connor Scahan, number 22, the corner on the far side, man up on him, and they'll play cover 2 deep, and they'll bring down that extra safety that you see, number 2, Brady Boydston, down into the box to help stop the run.
They're going to run a little pitch here, far side, got some room to run. Is he going to get the first? It's going to be really close. Tackle made on the sideline by Scahan there. Let's see what the call is. There's Jaden Bittner on the carry there, the junior. They're going to say 4th and 2, and this is a style of offense that really likes these 4th and short situations. They thrive in them, so expect when it's 4th and short, they're going to go for it pretty much every time tonight, regardless of where they are on the field.
Yeah, they fully believe that they're bigger, they're stronger, they're better than you, and they can pick up in these short yardage situations almost every time.
So big play here for the Thunder and Aquinas. It's going to be a give, and he is brought down. Big play by the Thunder. Hank Schreiner with the tackle, and St. James gets the ball early.
That's a beautiful first defensive drive there. It's exactly what we just talked about. They forced that turnover. Now they get the ball. Great field position. Hopefully the offense can make them pay. Beautiful blitz call by defensive coordinator Jason Denton there as well, sending Hank Schreiner right through that A-gap and tackles him in the backfield for a loss.
Yeah, Schreiner, one of the returning tacklers for the Thunder last year, had 4 tackles in a TFL last week, and he comes out and makes a big play. So great field position now for Tyson Beshore and the St. James offense at the 29-yard line here. St. James is going to try to spread him out a lot this week. Man in motion, quick toss, reverse coming near side here. Not a lot of blockers for Neeson to work with, and he's just running backwards. That was LaDrew Morrell with the hit, and there is a flag after the play. Let's see what team it's going to be on. Rivalry games like this, a whole lot of chatter is to be expected. Let's see what the call is. Regardless of the call, still a great play by Aquinas on that one.
Yeah, and I know we saw a little bit last week, emotions flare a little bit in that second half. You saw Connor Scahan did get that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. It looks like they're going to pick up the flag.
7-yard loss.
It was a nice hit by Morrell there to force Neeson out. Now it's going to be 2nd and 17. Tight bunch formation. We saw this a few times last week. Now motioning out of it. 4 wide. Beshore wasn't ready. Flag called. But I think Aquinas might have it. We'll see. They might have whistled it dead before the play even happened. Kalen Curtis with the recovery for Aquinas if the play stays. And they're blowing it dead. And they're going to give it to Aquinas rather. So Aquinas declines the penalty, and that is a big mistake for St. James early on.
Yeah, it just looked like a miscommunication there between, assuming between Beshore and Jackson Candu, the center. And even if they wouldn't have bobbled the snap, it still would have come back anyway. You can't have 3 players moving at the same time. It's legal motion, so it would have been lost again anyways.
Now Aquinas will have it pretty much right where they ended their last drive. Quick pitch to Callahan, going far side, has some room to run, and Boone brings him back. Big play there for the Thunder. Aiden Dreiling and Jordan Boone on the tackle for St. James on the gain of 1.
Boone does a really nice job there of sending that edge, forcing Will Callahan to cut back into the middle, and that's where all your help is coming from. Those interior linemen, those linebackers are all coming from the middle. So as long as you can get outside and not give up that leverage, you're going to be in okay shape.
Yeah, those outside linebackers, strong safety type players, Brady Boydston and Jordan Boone, they are going to have their work cut out for them tonight. A good start for the Thunder. Callahan in motion, pitch coming towards us with Arndt. Missed tackle. Arndt moving up the field. He's going to get about 3, maybe 4 on that one.
Jack Bevitt in on the tackle for the Thunder.
And you see just how many guys St. James has in the box. They've got about 8 guys in the box. And sometimes that can make you vulnerable to those outside runs like we just saw, although we did see Hank Schreiner was in that backfield yet again, barely missed the tackle. But I think as long as, like we said, they can contain those outside runs, their interior line and linebackers can be pretty good.
So 3rd and about 4. Aquinas will go for it on the 4th. It's going to be a reverse with Slaughter, the quarterback, running. Stays on its feet, gets a couple, but not enough for the first down. So it's going to be 4th and short for Aquinas on the little counter run with Slaughter. And the punt team comes on now.
Really nice stand by that Thunder defense there. I guess Aquinas getting a little scared now. They failed their first 4th and 2. They've kind of seen they've not been able to run the ball as they like, and they're going to punt this one away.
Yeah, Aquinas normally able to run really well against the Thunder, but not tonight, not to start they want. No Hornback back to return now for the Thunder. Baron Gavin, the punter for Aquinas, 6'6" punter. Don't see that very often. It's going to be up. Good punt here. Hornback has some room. Here he goes. Coming towards us is Hornback. Cuts it up the middle. Gets to the 40-yard line. Nice return there. And the offense back out, hoping to clean up some of the miscues we saw last drive.
Yeah, we just talked about before the game how they had 0 turnovers last week, and can't help but think that we kind of jinxed them because they go out and turn the ball over on the second play of the game. But aside from that one trick play, which they tried to get a little fancy with it, they got confident. We didn't really see how the St. James offense looked against this Aquinas defense. So I think if we can watch them put together a complete drive, that's going to be a telltale sign for how the rest of the game will go.
Absolutely, and Aquinas, their defense, you're kind of able to see it here, but they're really playing off in the secondary here. Tujak, quick swing pass. It is swatted down. What a play that was. Joey Goodnow getting his hand on that one.
A little bit of an offensive line breakdown there from the Thunder. It seemed like, you know, obviously on those screen passes, you always worry about someone jumping the route and taking it to the house, and that was probably a little too close for comfort there for the Thunder. They've really got to tighten things up.
Yeah, and this is a St. James team. They really struggled last year against Aquinas, just 120 total yards of offense last year in the 21-6 loss. So this is a St. James team. They want to find a way to rebound from that loss last year with a better offensive performance, but not a great start for the Thunder. Man in motion, give. Gains a yard, maybe 2 there on the carry. It's going to be 3rd and long on Tujak's 2-yard run.
I think the difference between this game and the game against Bishop VH so far is the offensive line just has not looked as sharp as they did last week. You know, maybe Aquinas' defensive line is just better, but that's still no excuse to not go out and give everything that you've got on every play.
Yeah, and a big thing is the size of this D-line for Aquinas, much bigger than what St. James faced last week. Beshore, room to run, almost picked off twice. Dallas Cahill almost getting the 2nd interception there, and nothing was there, and it's going to be a punt now for a Thunder.
I did like that action over there from the Thunder. They sent number 9 Max Albright on just a quick little about 5-yard out, tried to run Sam Neeson and right behind him to sit down. Got to give props to the Saints defense, though. They were ready for it. They had an outside linebacker right there, nearly picked off, as you saw. I think Beshore is just going to have to be a little bit quicker and a little bit more concise with his reads.
Yeah, we talked about last week what great reads Beshore had. That one probably would have been better off going in a different direction. Boydston kicks it up in the air. It's going to be out now at the 28-yard line. So both offenses sputtering to start. Just 4 minutes into this one.
29-yard line.
BSN Sports is a team supplier specializing in high-quality athletic apparel, footwear, and uniforms. BSN Sports provides convenience for coaches, which allows the St. James Academy Thunder to focus on winning. BSN Sports is a proud supporter of the SJA Crimson Club. So Saints back out now at the 29-yard line. St. Thomas Aquinas with this option offense. They're going to be running a lot of clock this game, but lots of possession switches early on in this one. It's going to be a dive to Arndt, and he is stood up there. Jack Bevitt and Max Riquette in on the tackle, and Riquette got hit hard by Arndt there. Still a nice gain of 2 for Aquinas.
I got to say, even though it is early, only about 4.5 minutes have gone by, we've seen 2 drives from Aquinas, and St. James has done a really good job stopping those runs up the middle. I mean, it's only been about 2 yards a carry on them, and that's led to a turnover on downs and a punt.
Yeah, and Andrew Moyer, Zachary Wero, a couple junior D tackles, played great last week, already making an impact. Even if they aren't making the tackles, they're clearing a lot of those blockers out. Callahan in motion, finally going to be a pass from Slaughter, the lefty. He's up in the air. What? No, incomplete. It was going to be a great catch along the sideline there by Bittner, but Noah Hornback sends it away at the last second, and 3rd and 8 now for the Saints. No, they're going to call it a catch, rather. Hornback shaking his head in disbelief.
And you can see the St. James coaching staff not happy about that either.
It definitely came out late, so he could have made the catch, I suppose, before then, but St. James is going to call timeout. They're not very happy with that call.
It's unfortunate that you can't challenge in high school because, you know, maybe you take a look at that challenge and the receiver's bobbling the ball the whole way and then it comes out and he never fully has possession. But the refs must have just been like, hey, it looks like he has possession. It looks like he's on the ground. Even though it's wrestled out after, it's still a completed catch because he got the ball to the ground with possession.
Yeah, it's absolutely a judgment call there for the referee. What a catch it was by Bittner, though, going up against 2 guys and coming down with it. Don't see passing much from the St. Thomas Aquinas offense, but efficient there. Bittner in motion, quick pitch to Arndt, chased down by Dreiling. Still on his feet is Arndt. That was an efficient run there of 6. Connor Scahan ultimately making the tackle.
Brought down by number 22, Connor Scahan.
Looks like we have a flag on the far side.
I think, yeah, that is a flag. I thought that was a shoe for a second there, but it is going to be a flag, and it's going to move the chains. Face mask by the Thunder, so an add 15.
You know, even on that play, even though he didn't make the tackle, I did really love to see Aiden Dreiling in that backfield early. Obviously, just about a second late on that pitch play, but you do like to see the defensive lineman in the backfield forcing that pitch early, even if you can't make the tackle.
Absolutely, and now Aquinas back out here after a couple efficient plays. They're going counter with Callahan. Makes 3 miss. He is still on his feet. What a run that was. Will Callahan getting 7 for Aquinas. Impressive play there from the senior.
You know, one thing we didn't really talk about pregame because it wasn't an issue last week was missed tackles. And St. James is going to want to be competitive and win this game. They can't afford to miss 3-4 tackles in the backfield like they did on that play right there. They've got to be sure tacklers every time.
Yeah, and that is so important with this option offense. But the big thing, you got to make the tackles even bigger than that. You have to have multiple guys around the ball because one-on-one, this Aquinas team are probably going to beat you in the open field. Dive to Arndt. Lots of room to run. Here he goes. Makes Hornback miss and finally brought down at the end there by Ben Drury after a first down. And now this is the sort of offense Aquinas likes to run. They're really being efficient this drive on their run plays.
Absolutely. They've really looked like they've found a nice rhythm on offense. And you got to give your flowers to Arndt. He's made a lot of guys miss. He's been able to stay on his feet for multiple yards after contact. You know, like we talked about, St. James has to be sure tacklers, but at some point, you just got to tip your cap to the guy running the ball.
Yeah, St. James really struggled with that position last year. Gianni Risi had 230 yards, 3 touchdowns on 31 carries last year, struggling this year as well. Here is a nice run for Slaughter, still up the field. You saw that great block there by the Aquinas lineman. Barnes, the center there, with the nice run. It is going to be a flag on the play.
The penalty is illegal procedure against the Saints.
So 5-yard penalty. It's going to move Aquinas back to 1st and 15. St. James, you see him already rotating on the D-line. Sam Charlton just entered the game for Lee Rowe. We saw St. James rotate a lot on the D-line last week. We're going to probably see that even more because these guys are going to get really, really tired with this sort of offense Aquinas plays.
Yeah, for sure. I think it is going to be important to keep those defensive linemen fresh so that they can go 100% on every play, because if they go 95, next thing you know, they are not in their gap and Aquinas has got 10 yards.
So 1st and 15, this is the style of offense that really, really struggles when you get behind the sticks like this. So they're going to need to find a way these next couple plays to put themselves in a manageable 3rd down if they don't get it. Slaughter dropped back. That's going to be the strategy. Not a pretty looking pass, almost caught. Yankovic was the intended target. He was wide open, but that certainly did not look like a guy used to throwing a football very much out there on that pass.
No, absolutely not. And I don't really mean to flame Aquinas here, but I'm going to. Their quarterbacks are typically not very good throwers because they don't ever do it. When you saw that, there was a lot of loft under that ball. It was way behind his receiver. And again, like you said, if we can force into 1st, 2nd and line, they're going to have to throw. And every time they throw, it feels like we've got a chance for a pick with, frankly, how bad of a ball that was.
Now, I will say receiver was wide open there. St. James needs the secondary to be a little stronger on a play like that. It's going to be a quick pitch, a bad pitch, and he's going to have to fall on it there.
Oh, my gosh.
And it's a flag, late hit. Almost for sure on Charlton there of the Thunder.
Frankly, I think that's a really soft call. I mean, the ball's loose on the ground and our guy can't dive for it to try to go for it.
The penalty moves the ball to the Thunder 19.
He was not happy about that call. Make it a 2nd down and 6 now.
4th and 6 from the 19.
A bit of precipitation out here. St. James early on feels like they've probably been shafted a couple times by the referees. Still don't want to let them get into that position though if you are the Thunder. It's going to be option pitch here to Callahan. Tries to cut back. Riquette brings him down after Callahan fights for a few more.
Great job by Riquette there to set that edge hard like we talked about earlier. And then I believe Schreiner was able to come over and make the tackle from the inside.
So 4th and about 3. Looks like the field goal unit on here trying to get the first points of the day for Aquinas. It's going to be Carson Patrick. It's Michael Dorfler out to kick now, the sophomore kicker for the Saints. It's up, it's blocked, I believe. Blocked or not, St. James is going to get off the field without giving up any points. And you know St. James has to be pleased with how their guys fought there those last couple plays.
For sure. Fortunate for St. James to catch a break there after a few really unfortunate plays on this drive. And so now, really, we need to just see just some competence from this St. James offense. They've looked very out of rhythm, like this Aquinas defense kind of has them fooled. It'd be nice to see them maybe try to get that run game going to set up that passing game, just find a rhythm that's working for them.
Absolutely. St. James did so good on the run last week with Tujak in the backfield, but struggling early on today. Tujak had almost 100 yards last game for the Thunder. It's going to be handoff to Tujak. He makes a guy miss, bouncing it outside. Great vision there to cut back. It's only going to be a few, but a really good run from Tujak.
Like I said, I think St. James on this drive is just going to try to calm down, really get their feet under them, get them feeling comfortable going against this defense again. Because, you know, as we said, this is a big rivalry game. Even though it's a normal everyday defense you go against, you got to remember all the emotions that are going through the heads on both of these players. You know, these schools, two bitter rivals, so there's a mental aspect to this game as well.
Absolutely, and we said it once, but it really is important to underscore this weather not great is a big wind out here, so running ball might be better for St. James. Quick pass to Neeson, bubble screen, fights, gets 2 or 3. It's going to be 3rd and about 4 here for the Thunder. St. James going to try to do a lot of that underneath stuff today. Going to let Sam Neeson and Parker Chase do whatever they can with the football out in space. Those two combined for 274 yards and 5 touchdowns last week for the Thunder. Really impressive start to the season for Chase and Neeson. Now trips to the left for St. James. One receiver at the top. Beshore looks to his left. Over the middle, it is complete. Wonder with the first down for St. James, moving the sticks for the Thunder.
Great protection by the O-line there. You know, they held really well. Great poise by Beshore as well to just sit back there, not panic when he couldn't find his first or second read. Hit Wonder on that nice underneath route for the first down.
Yeah, that's one of the things St. James frankly really likes about Beshore. It's been a little different from past few quarterbacks. The patience in the pocket, and a big part of that is having a pocket that stands up for that O-line play. First time we've really seen it today where they've given Beshore such a clean pocket. You'll love to see that for the Thunder. 1st and 10. Two-jack pitch, trying to bounce it inside. That is not going to work. Crew Henfield on the tackle there, and a big loss on first down for the Thunder.
You know, I think one thing we talked about last week was how good the wide receivers were in the blocking game as well. And really, except for that last play that picked up the first down, I feel like the St. James blocking has not been up to par, definitely not where it was last week. And I think they really have to clean that up as this game goes on.
Absolutely. If St. James wants to run all of these bubble screen type plays, St. James needs to have receivers out there blocking. It is a really good blocking room, like you said, but we haven't maybe seen it as much today. Only 5 in the box. St. James is going to throw. What a play there from Neeson along the far side. Gets about 13. That was a really calm, composed throw from Beshore and a great catch from Neeson, making it a 3rd and short.
And that's a tough throw, you know, especially that's into the wind across the field to the other side. That takes a lot more arm strength than people realize to get it over there.
St. James going tempo here, 3rd and 5. Quick pass immediately throws to Neeson. Looked like it wasn't going to be good, but Neeson fights forward. It's going to be 4th and short or a first down. We'll see what the refs give him here. Not a pretty ball from Beshore, but he got it out fast. I think that was kind of the goal of the play there. St. James going to go hurry up here. Beshore under center, look for the QB sneak. It didn't look like it worked. Let's see the call. They're motioning Aquinas got it, and they did. And again, Crew Henfield there with a great tackle for Aquinas, and St. James back into bad territory here. So Aquinas with the ball here at the 45-yard line. It's going to be a nice run up the middle with Arndt. He gets about 7 or 8. And Aquinas back to grinding the clock down here with about less than a minute in this first quarter. This time is going to disappear fast if St. James doesn't get some stops here against the Saints offense.
For sure, these quarters in these games go really fast when one team just runs the ball every time. Takes about 30 seconds off the play clock every time as well.
Back out here, it's going to be a dive to Arndt. Gets a couple, looks like it's going to be enough for the first. Aquinas is going to make St. James show that they can stop that dive, and then once they do, they have plenty of counters off that. We've already seen a couple, but that's a big part of this offense. Lots of dives, lots of QB sneaks, runs up the middle, and then counters right off those sword plays.
Absolutely, and earlier in this quarter, St. James was doing a pretty good job on stopping those dives. They have to continue to do that, and like you said, Will, they have to be wary of those counters that come after.
Arndt makes 2 miss, still fighting. Gets 6 or 7 there. Arndt, the junior running back, has been really, really good today. It looks like an Aquinas player, I believe that was Stephen Carroll, lost his helmet there.
The Spark Center is where students can come to help with learning, enrichment, collaboration. So say you're working on a problem or writing an essay and you get stuck in seminar and you're like, I just don't know what to do. You can ask your seminar teacher or study hall teacher. You can come on down during the day. We'll solve your problems and you can get right back to work so that you can be more efficient and have fun at home.
Performance Rehab uses the latest and most efficient treatments to meet your specific problem and guarantees your success. Experience the caring environment and the genuine concern they show when getting to know patients and their health goals. Performance Rehab is a proud supporter of the SJA Crimson Club.
Investments, tax planning, retirement, insurance, managing all aspects of your financial life can be overwhelming. That's where Claudic Wealth Management comes in. We'll help you fit each piece of the financial puzzle together. Schedule your free assessment today by texting GO THUNDER to 913-402-6099. Claudic Wealth is a proud supporter of St. James and the Crimson Club.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. With Sarah Chidrick, please come to the
Ball at the 31-yard line here, second down and 6 for Aquinas. See here, St. James really loading up the box. We're going to do that all night long. Arndt back up the middle. Moyer helps bring him down. He tried to fight for the first. Ball came out at the end. Looks like it wasn't a fumble, though. And he's going to be right at the marker. Let's see where the refs mark him. They're going to put him a yard short. That's going to make it a 3rd and 1 here.
St. James has done a pretty good job so far of containing these up-the-middle runs. You know, a lot of times in the past, Aquinas has gotten maybe 8 yards a carry on these. They're probably averaging maybe 3 to 4 right now. So St. James has done a pretty good job on that. But like we said, if they're going to really get that defense off the field, they're going to need to force 1st and 2nd and longs.
And Arndt, he has some room to run. Here he goes, making one miss. Hornback finally gets him out at the 5. A big run, though, for Aquinas. 21-yard gain on the carry by Cal Arndt.
And there we see what happens when the Thunder don't set the edge well, as they get outside, and then you're left with the secondary members who, no offense to them, but Arndt is just bigger and stronger than them, and they're going to have a really tough time tackling. But also give props to the Aquinas offensive line on this drive. They've looked really good. They've been able to get pretty much whatever they want.
Absolutely. Arndt, 5'8", 195 is where he's listed at. He is a physical runner, but really impressed by his explosiveness. He's finding good ways to get by the St. James defense. They're running right behind his line there, brought down. And again, like you said there, Jonathan, great blocking. He got about 4 yards before he even got touched there. So you love to see that if you're Aquinas.
Yeah, and really the style that they play doesn't really require a lot of patience from the running back. You know, with how physical their O-line shoots off, knowing it's going to be a run pretty much every time. Arndt really just simply has to follow right behind them and then try to look for that hole when it opens up. But really, like you said, Will, those first 2-3 yards didn't even get touched.
Yeah, and that all credit to that interior line on Aquinas' side. Stephen Carroll, Barnes, and Alex White on the inside. Arndt gets the toss. Looks like he's half-yard short there. Trying to run behind that right side of the O-line. Now it's going to be 3rd and less than a yard for Aquinas. Looking to put up their first points of the game in this one.
And obviously it's really tough for the Thunder to hold the Saints out of the end zone here, but really that's how you win games, is you bend but don't break and you force a field goal here, which will be very tough considering how physical this Aquinas team has played.
Give to Arndt, and he falls into the end zone. So St. Thomas Aquinas strikes first. The option offense results in the touchdown for Cal Arndt.
And I know we talked about it before the game, but Aquinas scored on this drive because they were the ones winning the line of scrimmage and dominating the line of scrimmage. Our defensive linemen were getting pushed back 1-2 yards pretty much every play, whereas maybe earlier in the first quarter it was St. James that was dominating the line of scrimmage. They were tackling the running back in the backfield. They were holding him to only 1 to 2 yards.
PAT is up and good. So 7-0 St. Thomas Aquinas. St. James 14 minutes into this one, struggling a little bit. Down 7-0 against the Saints.
Go enjoy a smoothie with a purpose. Visit Smoothie King, located at Monticello Center in Western Shawnee. Their mission is to inspire people to live a healthy, active lifestyle and to be an integral part of everyone's fitness journey. Go to Smoothie King to rule the day.
Freedom Physical Therapy and Training Center is proud to partner with St. James Academy and working to form the whole person. We look forward to helping others find freedom in their body, mind, heart, and soul. Go Thunder. All right, well, back off to kick now is Michael Dorfler, the sophomore. St. James has Tujak and Puhala returning. St. James hasn't gotten much on special teams returns this year. They'd love to see that change here on this kickoff. Kicks it to Puhala, and he will let it go out the end zone, so St. James will start at the 20-yard line here. St. James has to figure out some way to fix their offense here. Jonathan, what do you think is the key to fixing the St. James offense after a couple shaky drives for Thunder?
I think they just need to find a rhythm, and they really need to get rid of those negative plays. We started the game with that reverse play that lost about 6 yards. Then we had the fumble. Then we've had a few more tackles for loss, and that's just shooting themselves in the foot. They really have to make sure on every play, I know it sounds simple and kind of dumb, but that they're going forward with the football and actually gaining yards and not losing them. And that offensive line needs to continue to step up and give Tyson and the running backs room to operate.
Yeah, it's something St. James did so well last week on the bad plays, getting 2 or 3. Tujak gets 1 there. Nice play made. That was Kylan Curtis on the tackle for Aquinas.
And even though we've talked a lot about how the St. James offensive line needs to be better, that's a great play by Curtis, as you said, Will, into the backfield, tackling John after about 1.5 yard gain. Well, we've got to give credit to the Saints. They've got great athletes on this defensive line, and they're going to cause some havoc in this game.
2nd and 9 now for the Thunder. 2 receivers on both sides of Beshore. Beshore looks to his left. He had Neeson, threw it behind him just a little bit. Connor O'Donnell, the safety, almost getting the interception there.
I think one thing that also could be noted in the first quarter, Parker chased 0 targets after that 170-yard and 3-touchdown game last year. I think that for sure has to change for the Thunder as well. Get the ball to probably your best skill position player and let him go make a play.
Yeah, St. James needs to find ways to get Chase and Neeson, their 2 top receivers, a little more involved in this one. Beshore's going to roll to his left. Protection holding no more. That protection faltered in the end. Nobody opened downfield, and Beshore pushed out of bounds, and now back. It comes out the punt team unit for the Thunder. Definitely not the start this offense wanted for the Thunder.
No, but this Aquinas secondary especially has done a very nice job on coverage. I know I said before the game that I thought this secondary was not going to be much better than Miege, and I'm being proved wrong right now. They've been very good in coverage downfield, whether it has been man or zone. They've really thrown off Tyson and the whole offense.
Boydston falls at the 45, does Boydston's punt, and it will be downed right there. So Aquinas only has to go 55 yards to put up 7 more on that scoreboard. St. James needs to find a way to get their defense back to how it was playing earlier. That last drive, really, really bad for a Thunder defense.
Yeah, and I think it's very important, like you said, Will, as we noticed on the first drive, they were rotating those defensive linemen. And I think it is very important that you do keep those linemen fresh, especially with how physical of a game this is going to be. But I think you also got to keep in mind, maybe you've got a lineman that's weaker than the other one. I think it's very important that you also have your strongest lineup out there every play, because you're going to need it.
Absolutely. St. James, this is a crucial drive, going down 2 scores with this option offense. That's going to be really hard to come back from if you're a Thunder fan, so you need to stop here. Callahan in motion. They're going to pitch to Arndt with Callahan as a blocker. Arndt, he has some room to run. 1 man to beat, and Drury begins to bring him down, gets him down finally at the 35. 20-yard gain by Cal Arndt. That pitch play really working well for Aquinas tonight.
Indeed it is, and again, got to give props to that Aquinas offensive line. They're blocking really well right now. Arndt has had very wide open lanes to run through and really hasn't had to weight behind, hasn't really been touched in the backfield in a very long time.
Yeah, and these motions that they're using with Lopez and Callahan, they're really opening up some blocks for Arndt. They're going to dive with Arndt here, gets about 4. Will Pattison with the tackle there. He's one of those linebackers rotating in a little bit for St. James in this game.
For sure, we talked about keeping the D linemen fresh, but the linebackers too, especially, they get sent, they come down on blitzes. They're responsible for a lot of those toss reads. They're responsible for taking that toss man. And so, trying to keep everybody fresh is going to be a challenge in this game for sure.
8 minutes and change on the clock in this second quarter. St. James down 7-0 to Aquinas. Second down and 5. Gives to Arndt. Arndt fighting. He's going to get 4. Boydson on the tackle. One of the first plays they haven't gone motion all game. Probably caught St. James defense a bit off guard there.
And as well, you really see just how strong Arndt is. He was wrapped up. There were 2 guys on him, and he still manages to force his way forward, fall forward for that extra 1.5 yards. He's just a great athlete, and St. James really has their hands full, but they've got to be able to get back disciplined and cover every gap like they were doing in about the first 6 minutes of the game.
Yeah, last year in this game, Arndt had 58 yards in that fullback position for Aquinas on 7 carries, doing much better than that tonight. Fights forward, gets about 5. Pattison makes the tackle again, but St. James, they need to find a way to even just get a hold of 1 or 2 here, 1 or 2 yards on a play, because right now it feels like everything's going for 5+.
Absolutely, and like we said, it's really a two-sided issue. Aquinas has their offensive line has been playing really well, and St. James' defensive line probably is not at the top of the game right now. And I know I talked about before the game how important controlling the line of scrimmage is, and you see the different outcomes that it generates.
Man in motion, give to Arndt. He had a hole there, got up for about 7. Boone and Hornback on the tackle. But right now, Cal Arndt, he really is just this Aquinas offense, and St. James doesn't have an answer.
For sure, and Aquinas has just been running it up the middle, and why not? St. James really hasn't proven on this drive that they can stop it. Aquinas has been getting pretty much whatever they wanted up the middle, and I think they just are going to continue to do that until the Thunder prove that they can stop it.
Yeah, and Arndt certainly has to be getting tired out there, but how well it's been working, you can't stop it. Finally got that stop that St. James needed on 2nd and short. Max Riquette, he had a phenomenal game last year against St. Thomas Aquinas, multiple TFLs in that one. He's been a little quiet so far this year, probably getting a little more attention being the star D lineman for Thunder, but making a big play there for St. James.
Yeah, but even if he's not getting the stats, I think it's important to remember that he's still affecting the other players as well, because maybe he draws the attention of 2 offensive linemen, and then Andrew Moyer, like as we saw last week, can go in and get that sack because of that attention Riquette is drawing.
So 3rd and 1 here for Aquinas. Man came in motion now. They're looking back at the sideline. 7 was on the clock, and it's going to be a timeout by Aquinas. 3rd and about 1.5, maybe 2 yards here. This is certainly one of the biggest plays of the game for Aquinas. Patrick Exteriors is a local family-owned business since 1996 and is the leading installer of James Hardy siding products in Johnson County. Patrick Exteriors knows the problems and solutions for homes in Kansas City and is the 3-year member of the Crimson Club. Third down and 2 now for Aquinas. St. James has to be ready for Arndt to get the ball here after the timeout. It's just going to be Slaughter up the middle. He got the first. It looked like maybe a bit more. That play really killed St. James last year. Aiden Skinner, last year's quarterback, had multiple QB sneaks for 5+ yards. And finally, the first QB sneak of the day works to perfection, and Aquinas gets the first.
Yeah, it's been really tough for St. James this past drive trying to get those stops. I know I'm obviously not a St. James head coach, but I wonder if this continues, maybe bring in a 5th defensive lineman maybe bring a linebacker down closer to the line of scrimmage. I know you see Jack Pickett, Jordan Boone, and Hank Schreiner all pretty tight in the box, but I mean, this up the middle game has been so devastating. You got to think that there's going to be a change coming eventually.
Absolutely, and there's really a nice run from Arndt there, gets about 5 or 6. There's only so much you can do, though, if you're a St. James coach. At some point, these guys have to make the tackles. You can put as many guys in the middle, as many guys in the box as you want, but if that O-line's getting the push, St. James can't bring Arndt down. That's not really on the coaches. And St. James, like you said, they're going to counter off this at some point off these up-the-middle runs. St. James has to be ready for that.
That's true, and even though it's not a great pass game, you still got to be wary for it. I mean, it doesn't matter how good or bad of a throw it is. If the receiver's got 10 yards of separation, it's going to be a completion at 20 yards anyways.
It's going to be a quick pitch to Arndt. Fights off one tackler. He's right at the goal line. Looks like he was about half yard short. Hornback with the tackle there. That'll make it a 3rd and 1 here. And goal to go situation. 4.5 minutes are on the clock.
And it's no big mystery where they're going here. It's either going to be QB sneak with Slaughter or right up the middle with Arndt. It's really, the whole stadium knows it.
And Arndt untouched into the end zone. Touchdown, St. Thomas Aquinas there. And you called it, Jonathan, right up the middle to Arndt. And no real pushback from St. James on that play there. Arndt puts up his 2nd touchdown of the night.
I think that in this 4 minutes, if St. James could put together maybe a 3.5-minute drive that ends, it really needed to end in at least a field goal just to get some points on the board. Maybe show a spark on offense that you can continue to build on from the second half. Maybe you try something new, you see that it works, and you continue it into the second half. But going into the half 14-0, or even worse, maybe 17-21-0 with a turnover or a quick offensive drive, I think it's really critical that St. James comes away with points on this drive.
Absolutely, and this is an Aquinas offense that isn't built for the 2-minute situation. So if you're St. James, you're thinking, hey, we score fast here. Maybe you get Aquinas gets the ball back 2 minutes, minute 30, something like that. You could get the ball back again if you're St. James. It sounds crazy, but tying this game up going into half, making it a 14-14 game is very realistic if St. James plays their cards right and finally gets some momentum on the offense. But we just haven't really seen it today. It's kind of hard to believe with how this passing game has looked that St. James can be able to move the ball effectively downfield.
Absolutely, and I just think they need to get the ball to their playmakers a little more. I mean, they've gotten the ball to John Chuzak. They've tried to get to Sam Neeson. Parker Chase still 0 targets. Jude Wonder held to only 1 catch. Really, the offense hasn't even run that many plays because it's kind of been 3 and out or turnovers. They really have to change that.
Yeah, rhythm, that's the big word for St. James right now. They just don't have much of it. Puhala is going to get the ball at the end zone here, and there are like 6 Saints right there. There was no blockers for St. James. I really don't know what the plan was there. You just saw Puhala. He had the ball at about the 5, and there were 6 Saints running right at him. And frankly, St. James kind of lucky to get 10 extra yards after that. But a tough field position to start out this drive for St. James.
For sure, and we saw a little bit of a struggle on kickoff last week. Taryn Jackson, obviously the speedster, multiple returns beyond the 30 up to the 40. Kickoff return didn't look too bad, but that's really, you don't like to see a step back on special teams. It is still a crucial part of the game, even though it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, and Puhala, he had his foot on the line as he was catching that. He could have probably just let that ball go in the end zone if he wanted, but you want to see better if you're a Thunder. Beshore has some room to run on the QB draw. Fights and looks like he got the first. St. James ran that play a ton with a lot of success with Ben Wheeler last year. That worked well on the first down for a Thunder.
I do like to see a little bit of a different play call there. Like we said, St. James is going to have to respond on the defensive side of the ball. A little bit of a response there on the offensive side of the ball. Kind of quick hitter. Aquinas didn't really expect it to get up the middle. I think it is worth noticing that Beshore is limping a little bit. He was dealing with a little bit of ankle trouble earlier this week on senior retreat, so we'll continue to monitor that as the game goes on.
Bad snap there. Ball shot up in the air, and Aquinas got it. The second muffed snap of the day. It looked like Beshore was ready on that one, which he was not on the last one. But unfortunate there. Kind of hard to tell who to really blame on that one. The ball just came out so fast, and Aquinas heads up play, got it right back. And now Aquinas has potential to make this a 3-score game.
Really a nightmare scenario for St. James. You see it here in the NFL a lot, talking about defense can't get off the field. And that's kind of what it's been. The St. James defense has been on the field for what feels like almost a quarter straight because the offense really hasn't been able to get anything humming. But, yeah, it's really unfortunate break, a second muff snap. After we talked about 0 mistakes last week, really 2 critical ones here early.
Yeah, it's been about 50 minutes of real time. It feels like this defense has probably been out there for about 35 of them. That's how long they've been on the field. It's been really tough for this defense. Got to be tired. Slaughter, he has a man down the field. Does he hit him? He does. Touchdown, St. Thomas Aquinas. That's Michael Beamart, the tight end. And the senior gets the touchdown there, and Slaughter's second completion of the day, goes for 6.
And like I said earlier, you still have to be wary of that pass game. You know, really, we talked about how St. James has that extra linebacker in to help with run support. That means the secondary is a little bit exposed, and frankly, they have just not looked very good. There's been a lot of separation, maybe some miscommunication, just frankly a lack of discipline back there, letting receivers get behind them.
Absolutely. Really hard. You get lulled to sleep by that run. It's run, 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 and then they go over top. PAT up and true. So St. James down 21-0. We talked about it at the end of last week's broadcast. St. James offense didn't really face any adversity last week. It felt like it was kind of, easy, smooth sailing for the offense. This week it's been the exact opposite. It's been a lot of adversity. They haven't been on the field much, haven't had a rhythm, and they have not responded well. You need to see them fight back a little bit better as they have 3:27 to get some points up on the board. Certainly enough time, but the big question is, can they get those first downs needed to move the ball?
For sure, and obviously, you hate giving up the touchdown. You'd rather not. But from an offensive perspective, you're coming right back out on the field. You get a chance to reset, and you barely lose any time off the time for drive that you originally had. So you have another chance to go get a score and get a spark before halftime. Just like we've seen, St. James has really been their own worst enemy in this game so far. They've got to clean it up.
Yeah, just mistake after mistake, it feels like, for this offense. They need to clean it up. Like you said, Dorfler will be kicking off here. Puhala fumbles it along the sideline, tries to make a man miss. He falls down at the 20, so a better return that time for the Thunder. But again, the special teams game hasn't been great. And that's one of those things, when you're playing in a tight game, that's a real X factor. Special teams, timeout management, flags, those are kind of the things you look at in tight games like this one hopefully will be for the Thunder. And St. James definitely needs to get that special teams cleaned up a little bit.
Absolutely, because it affects more than you know. I mean, field position obviously a huge factor in the game. I think something else underrated is emotion and energy. A good return or a good special teams play gets the whole team fired up, and that translates, 5 minutes into the future into the next drive.
It's going to be a touch pass here to Neeson going far side. Neeson has to bounce it outside, and that was a nice tackle on the outside. That was with Drew Morrell on the tackle. And St. James, they just haven't been able to work the boundaries at all today.
Yeah, and I mean, the St. James blocking has not been great, but on the other side of the ball, this Aquinas defense has looked really good so far. I think we've really got to give them credit for how they've played. On that, you could see Sam Neeson trying to cut it back inside, but he just couldn't.
Have 21-0 Aquinas on top. St. James is going to get the ball at the 14 here. Returned it to the 20, lost 6 on the last play. St. James, they need to find a positive play here. Need this to be a third and manageable if you're a Thunder offense here. 2 receivers on both sides of B-Shore. B-Shore just a straight run up the middle. He got tossed forward for a few. Looked like a horse collar might be called there. Andrew Ham, the senior, with the tackle for Aquinas.
And you saw in that play, if you could notice, that outside linebacker for Aquinas starts very close to that line, and then as soon as the ball is snapped, runs back out to the flat, and St. James ran it right to where he just came from. So they clearly see that and are trying to attack that little weak point, because once he leaves, there's kind of a big area of green there with not a lot of people there. So if they can get maybe an offensive lineman up to a second level to take care of a linebacker, they could have a decent game through that gap.
Yeah, you said it, Jonathan. They love those corners. They start out in the press, then they back up. They give them maybe 8 to 10 yards of separation. That's why St. James, I think they think that their slants, their bubble screens, quick outs, all those things are going to be open. So when those corners back up, if St. James gets it out quick, it's going to be hard for them to move back up towards the ball. But St. James hasn't really taken advantage yet. Bishore's going to run it back up the middle again. Here he is. He has some speed up the middle, and he got the first down for the Thunder. Connor O'Donnell on the tackle.
Great burst of speed from Bishore there. And this is something we didn't see until this drive, which is that QB draw game. It's been very good for the Thunder. Give the Aquinas kind of a different look, another dimension of the game to worry about, if you will, and it seems to be working for them.
Yeah, St. James, they run a ton with the quarterback. We saw it the last couple of years with Brady Boydston and Ben Wheeler. Bishore, he is a good runner, probably not as good as those two, though. So we'll see it less this year, but it's worked really well tonight. Neeson on the quick bubble screen, makes a man miss, fights forward, gets it up past the 45-yard line, up close to the 44. That's that bubble screen we were talking about, and it worked really well for St. James there.
For sure, and great blocking on the outside there by Parker Chase. You know, we talked last week about how the receivers blocking was such a key thing, and he really makes that play happen, because if he maybe misses that block on the corner there, that's a gain of 2 or even a loss, and instead of a gain of 8.
So 2nd and 2 now, minute 40 on the clock. St. James has 2 timeouts. Plenty of time still here, but it's something to keep in mind if you're the St. James offense trying to call plays here. Now Bishore's going to drop back. There's that quick out. Finally, Chase gets a catch. He's still on his feet. Here goes Parker Chase along the sideline, and he is finally ripped down by Gabe Spice there. But what a play that was. Parker Chase looked like it was done after a gain of 8 or 10, but fights forward, and St. James has a little bit of life.
Absolutely, and like you said, there's that quick out game that you've been talking about. And, you know, I kind of said this earlier, how Parker had 0 targets. They get him the ball, they finally give him a target, and he goes and makes a play, which is really what St. James needs. Get the ball to their playmakers and allow them to go make a play like that, and that leads to 1st and goal.
So 1st down and 8 now in a goal-to-go situation. Bishore counter on the run. That didn't work too well. Good now with the tackle there. Good now. One of the standout players on this defense, had 4 sacks last year and played very well against St. James.
And now St. James here, I mean, obviously you're probably coming away with points, right? But 7 here, and then you get the ball, and you get that second half kickoff. Maybe we go get another 7. All of a sudden, it's 21-14. You're right in this game. Whereas if you get a field goal here, it still feels pretty out of reach.
Trips to the right for Bishore. Quick pass to Jack. Pass took a while to get there. He was open. And it's caught by Tujak, gets maybe 6 or 7. O'Donnell, the safety, with the tackle. And St. James, rather, they had those 2 timeouts. They're going to use one here, and it's going to be 3rd and short in a goal-to-go situation.
6-yard gain to the 3.
Now let's hear a word from St. James Academy. This is a situation, some of those 2-point conversion plays you work on if you're St. James. This is about as far 3 yards away as how far a 2-point conversion would be. So those 2-point conversion plays could come in handy here. St. James has worked a lot from this distance. St. James has Brogan Jaworski in at fullback, and Bishore's under center. So something we don't see a whole lot here. Bishore naked bootleg to the right. Is he getting in? He hit hard. They're not going to say he got in. Creative play there for the Thunder. Looked like it wasn't enough to get into the end zone. So St. James, they need to call timeout. That clock is still going down. They finally do. It says 1 second on the clock. They might add some time here. So 1 second, 1 yard to go. This is a tough decision for Coach Radke. We welcome you into the booth here. Jonathan May alongside Will Nichols. St. James, they're down 21-0. Haven't looked good. Finally found a little bit of a spark this drive, though. The offense is down at the 1. St. James, really tough decision to make here. First real drive of the day. You don't want to walk away with just 3. On the other hand, first real drive of the day, you don't want to walk away with 0. So a tough choice for St. James here.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be really interesting to see whether they try to go, they've got 1 play left. They did let the clock run all the way down to 1. I believe had a chance to call timeout at about 10, but let it run all the way down to 1. Now they got 1 play left. It's very critical that they get a touchdown here, obviously, because they're going for it. They're not kicking.
Yeah, it looks like they are going to be going for it. 4th and goal from the 1. Neeson in motion, back. Be sure. 2 flags thrown. I think it might be on Neeson on that motion. Maybe they say he moved forward. Yeah, they're going to throw flag on Aquinas here, it looks like.
Maybe an offsides call.
Doesn't really change much for St. James. I mean, you're still have 1 play left pretty much to get in the end zone here no matter what.
I know we saw that failed QB sneak earlier, but honestly, I think that would be a great play here. Just QB sneak, you've got a half yard to go. Even if Tyson just has to jump over the top, it looks like they're not going to do it, but.
Let's see, St. James got the score after the timeout, unfortunately. And looks like Aquinas called a timeout. So a little bit of a chess battle going on here. St. James calls the timeout. Then there's the penalty. Now Aquinas calling a timeout after seeing what St. James's first 2 plays looked like there. And so now we're back in the same position we were just in moments ago, Jonathan. Decision time. You have to think St. James is going to keep the offense on the field. The question is, where should St. James go with this ball?
I know we failed one earlier, but I still think QB sneak is the best option here. I mean, your odds of getting about half a yard are pretty high. Even if, like you said, as soon as the ball crosses that goal line, the play is dead. So even if Tyson jumps over the line and reaches out for that end zone, if he gets it, he gets it. Or you could just go right up the middle. Or, you could do, as we saw a few plays earlier, and you could kind of roll Tyson out on a bootleg, maybe try to run some receivers away and let them get in the end zone, but we'll see what they dial up here.
Yeah, I think that's what I'd do, Jonathan. They're on the near side hash, so they've got a ton of room to Beshore's left. He's a really good athlete. He's a really good decision maker, so if I was St. James, maybe you let Beshore get outside the pocket, see what he can do. You just need half a yard, but obviously much easier said than done. Wonder in motion, evening out the formation here for the Thunder. Beshore rolling to his right, looking to his left, going to chase. He has him. It's caught. Touchdown, St. James. The big play they needed comes at the end of the half, and St. James gets their first score of the night on a crucial touchdown to Parker Chase.
Absolutely beautiful play call. Parker Chase just runs that crossing route away from Beshore. Beshore, again, great patience there. The defense was coming at him. He stays poised, delivers a great throw, perfect touch on it out of the defender's reach to Parker. And like you said, Will, absolutely huge play to come away with the touchdown before half. Now we get the ball to start the second half as well. And next thing you know, this could be a really nice game.
Yeah, and that was great defense by Aquinas there. PAT momentarily. It is up. A little bit of a low kick, but it is good. So St. James down 21-7 heading into the half. Like I was saying, great defense from Aquinas when they played. They didn't defend it perfectly, but Beshore, he ran it to perfection. Sometimes great offense beats really good defense. That's kind of what happened there. It was a beautiful pass from Beshore. And St. James, they got the spark they needed. Now they need to carry it into the second half.
Absolutely, and I think, on that drive we saw the new addition of that QB draw. I think we really saw that we saw that was that spark that St. James needed. They were able to move the ball very well. They had more yards on that drive than they did the entire rest of the game. They took care of the ball, most importantly, so they were able to get that drive going. And I think it was a good building block for the second half. They saw what they can do to move the ball. And I think they just need to continue that and try to get another touchdown right after half.
Yeah, so 21-7, St. James down to Aquinas, need to rebound and find a way to keep up this momentum heading into the second half.
Still need your help
to stay on track.
What's up? Hoorah!
From Thunder Studios in Lenexa, Kansas, this is TBN Pulse.
Hello Thunders, I'm JP Argenziano. Welcome to St. James Academy's new video magazine, TBN Pulse. In this episode, Zach Wolzen will talk with Mr. Talicki about the new gym floor, and Luke Tepfer will talk with Coach Greg Baumhoff about the cross-country season. Luke?
Cross country, and obviously I'm biased. I think it's a fantastic sport. It encompasses, I think, the best of individual performances within a team concept. And so it's all about, you go into a race's top 5 finishers, you record their place, and then the lowest total of those 5 is the one that wins, and you have tiebreakers at 6th and 7th. So it's always fun to watch everybody come in and try to tally scores as they cross the finish line. Our first meet of the season will take place on September 7th. This is Saturday morning at Johnson County Community College. So it's a nice central location for all spectators in the area. The races will start at 8 a.m. with the girls varsity, and will be followed by boys varsity, and then the JV races to follow after that in the morning.
What's it like to spectate a cross-country meet?
It is a one-of-a-kind experience, truly, because you are not pinned into a specific stadium or even an area where there's like a court or anything like that. You are out on the course. And so more than anything, when you get out there, you want to kind of get a look at where the course goes and kind of be ready. You'll have to do a little bit of walking, but it's one of the only sports that I think that you can actually exercise while you are watching other athletes compete. And from that standpoint, depending on the course, which this course is fantastic, it's a pretty exciting experience. We hope to see all of you that happen to watch this at one or more of our cross-country meets during the season. Check it out. It is very exciting. It's a very new experience for people, but it's one that almost invariably people come away from finding that they enjoyed much more than they thought that they would when they went into it. So take a shot. Come and find us and watch us race and watch us represent this fantastic school.
Thank you, Coach Baumhoff. From TBN Pulse, this is Luke Tepfer.
Thanks, Luke. Next is Zach Wolzen.
I'm Zachary Wolzen here with President Andy Slicki, St. James Academy, here to talk about the new gym floor. So I've just got a couple questions.
Sure.
So tell us what this new floor means to the school.
Oh boy, we've been looking forward to doing this to our gym floor for about 7 years. The floor was 20 years old. It was getting slick. The original floor was pretty dark, so there was a dark coloring, a dark hue, and we really wanted to lighten it up. And I think what we were able to do is lighten it up. It's really lit up the gym quite a bit. It's going to be a much better surface for volleyball, for basketball, for everything that we're going to want to do. And we did a rebrand of the logo. So the logo is the new logo that we did about 7 years ago. So yeah, it means a lot, and it looks beautiful.
You were one of the first coaches or teacher athletic directors here at the school. What does it mean for our coaches and our teams to have a floor like this?
Yeah, it means a lot. You know, when I first got here, I was the first athletic director and the boys basketball coach. But for us now, it just kind of brings cleanliness to the gym. It really makes it a lot sharper. It matches everything else that we've done over the last 4 or 5 years in the building. So having this floor today was really important. It was really pretty necessary after 20 years of the floor being used.
Yeah, what was your favorite memory on the old floor?
I think it was year 2 when I was still coaching, so we only had freshmen and sophomores, and we were playing a varsity schedule, and we were getting beat pretty bad by a lot of people because we were so young. And I remember we won a game on a Michael Huppy corner 3 over in that corner over there, and the place went absolutely crazy, and it was kind of like the first fond memory of winning a really big basketball game for St. James.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Zach, and thank you for watching today. We'll see you next time on TBN Pulse. God bless you and go Thunder.
The Spark Center is where students can come to help with learning, enrichment, collaboration. So say you're working on a problem or writing an essay and you get stuck in seminar and you're like, I just don't know what to do. You can ask your seminar teacher or study hall teacher. You can come on down during the day. We'll solve your problems and you can get right back to work so that you can be more efficient and have fun at home. We are open every hour, 1 through 8. We do take a lunch for 6th hour. We're open during Thunder Block and late start mornings from 8 to 9. Our juniors and seniors are spark plugs. They've applied and been hired, and they give up 40 minutes, half of their study hall, every study hall time to come and help you. We also take care, we have 2 teachers, a math teacher and an English teacher every hour, also here to help you to fill in the holes. Anyone. I mean, we have freshmen who come every time. We have sophomores who have been waiting for weeks to come down since we opened. And we have juniors and seniors. We've got seniors who are studying for tests right now back there, writing on the walls to practice their AP Bio. So it's all ages. And it is something that we enjoy and that's worthwhile for you, and we want you to come.
I am a senior here at St. James, and I'm a brain tumor survivor.
I thought that it was so cool that everyone did the fight song at the end and participated, and I loved praying the Our Father at the end because it kind of grabbed everyone's attention and got them focused back in, and
I'm Abby Faye. I'm a senior in Benedict Community.
I thought it was very good. I really am glad that all of the kids that we've lost and were able to be honored in the right way. I really thought the standing ovation was just amazing. I almost cried at that, and I'm not typically one to cry, but I thought that was really cool.
But I own it, no stranger to the moment. You won't make me feel alone. You say that I'm broken, not trying to fit into your mold. I'm the St. James Academy! I disregard you in the summer. I'm not calling out for you. live in the moment? Does it make you feel alive? And I'm trying to let you fake it your own way, but in time your mountain will crumble down and it will make you feel alone. I'll disregard you in this summer. I'm not calling out for you. Yeah, I never wanna treat like you really are. But if you're standing with me, don't hold on to the fire till it burns you to the ground. And I never wanna treat like you wear me out. But if you're standing with me, don't hold on to the fire till it burns you to the ground.
And we welcome you in here. St. James down 21-7, but that key touchdown at the end of Parker Chase putting St. James on the board. What does St. James need to do to claw their way back into this game in the second half?
I think they just need to try and repeat what they did on that last drive. Offensive line protection looked a lot better than in every previous drive. The quarterback draw was very effective. Tyson Beach were able to get multiple runs of 8 yards plus. And they're getting the ball to the playmakers. You know, Parker Chase obviously with the touchdown as well as about a 30-yard pass on that after 0 targets until that drive. So they just have to continue that. I think they found a nice rhythm that they can continue to build on as the game goes on. And then their defense has to continue to focus on stopping that inside run. As we saw, they were kind of getting whatever they want on their past 2 scoring drives. So if St. James can clean up that side of the ball and keep building on that offensive drive, I think this could be a game. It could be 21-14 here in no time.
Absolutely. St. James, the offense, like you said, building on the last drive. That's what really matters. The run game is going to be something to watch for St. James as well. John Tushak had a really, really good game against Bishop Gage. We haven't seen it much outside of Tyson Beashore, like you said, but that run game with John Tushak at running back, St. James needs some help there, and a big part of that is the offensive line. They've had some good moments, but some moments they haven't looked as strong.
Yeah, for sure. And really, you said he had a good game last week. Really, all of this offense has been through Tyson. There's really not been a lot of John in this game, which is nothing against John. Obviously, he's a great player. It's just the run game hasn't really been working so far. Maybe they look to establish that more into the second half, but it's been through the air. It's been on the ground with Tyson instead of with John. And I think they've got to be ready for the Aquinas adjustment. Obviously, they're not just going to keep letting Tyson do the draw up the middle for 8 yards. So they've got to keep taking what the defense is giving them. I think that's going to be really important. As you talked about a little, those quick outs. We saw a quick out to Parker that turned into 30 yards. I think if they can just take what the defense is giving them. I know after that game last week, they realized, hey, we've got an explosive offense. We can make big plays. You can't have those big plays if you don't start with the smaller plays. You got to take what the defense is giving you and then build from there.
Absolutely, and you see that with St. Thomas Aquinas' offense. Actually, they're using these sort of simple play designs, right? It's a lot of dives, a lot of pitches, a lot of counters. That's really all their offense is. It's just those three simple concepts, but they're building off those, and they're using those as building blocks, right? So one play they're going to get 4, the next play they get 7, the next play they get 10 as they wear out this St. James defense. And a big part of this half that St. James didn't do well last half was keeping the defense off the field. They're going to get really tired. They almost for sure are going to be tired the rest of this game. They're going to be on the field a lot. St. James, if they want to win, they need to keep the ball in their hands for as long as possible this game.
For sure. I think that's a really good point. Not only does St. James want to score, I mean, obviously that's the number one priority. You'd rather score in one play than not score in 12 plays. But I think that's a good point that the offense needs to put together maybe a 5-6 minute drive to give that defense time to rest a little more, especially if they've just come off a drive where they've been on the field for 4 minutes. The offense has got to be able to sustain drives long enough for the defense to recuperate some of their energy.
Absolutely. We're about 2 minutes away from the beginning of the half here. Should be an exciting second half in this one. St. James a lot to play for, down 21-7. It was a good half for St. James, but Cal Arndt got the first 2 scores of the day for Aquinas. Back-to-back touchdowns there. And then the pass from Elfie Slaughter, his second completion of the game, was an absolute beauty, hitting the tight end Bernhardt for the touchdown, his second completion of the day. St. James marched right back down the field on the little 2-minute drill with Parker Chase getting that touchdown at the end to end the half. St. James needs to find a way to build on that momentum. We will be back with the game in just 1 minute. BSN Sports specializes in high-quality products for all sports and age groups with uniforms, coaches gear, footwear, and Booster Club items. They are the St. James Academy partner in athletic wear and proud supporters of the Crimson Club.
Performance Rehab provides patients with effective outpatient rehabilitative care, from physical therapy to sports medicine services to industrial injury rehabilitation. We are excited to welcome Performance Rehab as a new sponsor of the Crimson Club.
CatholicFaithStore.com is a local St. James family-owned business offering Catholic medals, rosaries, statues, and more. And they're another great sponsor of the Crimson Club. Thunder families get a 10% off their purchase with code SJA10. That's all capital SJA10 at CatholicFaithStore.com. So St. James will be receiving the ball here to start the second half. Puhala, number 26. Tujak, number 25, back to return for the Thunder. Same kicker will be Michael Dorfler kicking off for Aquinas. He's been kicking it right at the end zone line here. So making St. James have to make some tough decisions. We talked about earlier, special teams hasn't been strong. This is an opportunity to fix that for St. James.
Absolutely. And another thing I think that's important to highlight is St. James, the 2 giveaways in the first half, really almost about as sloppy as a half as you could ask for until that last 5 minutes. And they've got a chance to only be down 1 touchdown after this drive. So I think that's something to keep in mind. If St. James can take better care of the ball, this game could flip.
So here is the kick. It's going to go to Puhala. Has to return here, catches it near the 10. He has some room to run along the sideline. Here goes Puhala, or rather Tujak still on his feet. He's still going. There is Tujak inside the 45, and that's the play St. James needed. The special teams, they had not played well up to this point. They flip it right there, and now Tyson Beshore not near as much work to do to get 7 more points up on the board for St. James.
Exactly right. Just like you said, they come out with that fire. And like we talked about earlier, special teams is important because it gets that energy going. You saw the whole St. James sideline and the student section get fired up on that. And that can transfer. Don't underestimate the energy aspect of the game. And as well, like you said, well, only 43 yards to go to get that touchdown. Really just a huge return all around, exactly the start St. James wanted.
So the offense heads out now for St. James. Puhala is going to be in at running back. You have to think after Tujak's long return there, probably needs a breather. St. James going 5 out. We don't see this much. Aquinas isn't covering it very well. Now Puhala in motion. Wonder what a catch that was. That was fit into a very tight window from Beshore, but nice play, and St. James moves to 6.
I do like the 5 wide look there. You know, as you said, well, it looked like there was a bit of confusion in that Aquinas secondary there. St. James, I think that's the first time they've really gone 5 wide in this game. And like you said, that's just another building block that they've added after that last drive, they scored. We talked about continuing to build, and here they go at it again. So clearly, maybe they see something they like. They see something they want to try out.
Yeah, and they're still not covering Wonder. He's the closest guy to Beshore at the top of your screen. It signals a zone for Beshore. Chase wide open over the middle. Chase moving up the field inside the 10, and it takes just 2 plays in a return, and St. James already within 10 yards of the end zone.
Beautiful start by St. James. Again, getting the ball to your playmakers, Parker Chase over the middle of the field. Great poise again by Beshore to deliver a great pass right to him, finds the soft spot in the zone. Just like that, St. James inside the 10-yard line, you got first and goal.
At the 8-yard line now for the Thunder. Neeson is in motion. We've seen him get a touch pass already. They're going to fake it to him. Man wide open and incomplete. They called it incomplete. It might have been an interception. O'Donnell was close. It was intended for Alec Jett. He was wide open there. Pass just a little low, bobbled and incomplete. Now it's second and goal from the 8.
Absolute killer. I mean, Jett was very wide open, as you said. Well, would have been an easy touchdown. And St. James maybe even a little fortunate there. That looked like Aquinas thought they came up with it. Looked like maybe they could have. But, again, I like to see the rollout, the giving time for Tyson to find his reads and for the receivers to get open.
Second and goal from the 8 here. We talked about maybe seeing more Tujak this drive. We haven't seen much from here. This could be an opportunity. Chase in motion at tight end. Tujak rather, fighting forward, gets 1, maybe 2. Swallowed up by the big St. Thomas Aquinas D-line there. So third and goal from the 7. You have to think St. James is going to try to probably throw it into the end zone here. You'd think that St. James, Parker Chase, Sam Neeson, those are probably the 2 guys that Beshore's looking for in this play.
Yeah, you've got to think some 2 best receivers. They're both to the near side of the field. Got to think they've got some route combo to get one of them open.
Beshore, he's rolling. There is a lot of pressure there. Beshore needs to throw fast. Fires, intercepted. Aquinas gets it. O'Connell brings it out of the end zone. Wasn't a great decision there, but nonetheless, Beshore had to make something happen, and he did, just not in the favor of St. James, and Aquinas is going to get the ball.
Real unfortunate play there. St. James gets down all the way into the goal line. They've got the drop touchdown that would have brought them to within 7. And then got to give credit to Aquinas. Great blitz there on third and goal. Forces Beshore out of the pocket. Just makes a bad read there. It's tough. Aquinas picks it off.
So now it's going to be first down and 10 from their own 8. Again, the nice interception there from O'Donnell, but a bad choice to bring it out of the end zone. St. James, if they get a stop here, could force Aquinas into thinking about maybe trying to avoid the safety. Aren't moving. That did not work. Boone and Raquette ganging up on the tackle there, and it's a tackle for loss for St. James.
And that's what we've been looking for really in that second quarter, is holding them to 1 or 0 yards. That didn't really happen really in the past few drives. That's just a good start to the second half by the defensive line that really was having some troubles towards the end of that first half there.
Yeah, you'll love to see that response for St. James finally bring down Arndt. But now you're seeing the clock rolling. They're already at 10 seconds on the play clock. Got to think, well, Aquinas has this lead. They're going to do that a lot. It's a quick pitch to Arndt. Finds the hole between the right tackle and the right guard in that B gap. Looks like it was close to a first down for Aquinas.
Good response there from Aquinas. The first down run goes nowhere. Or, yes, the second down run, you pick up 8-7 yards. It's almost that game within the game of, you missed the block one time, you get the block the second time. Just you run the same play, but the execution is a little different and how that affects the next few plays.
So now Joey Goodnow in the game, the defensive end for Aquinas. Captain on that team, doesn't play much offense, but he's out here now. They give to Arndt up the middle. And that is power football right there for Aquinas, absolutely bulldozing through that St. James defensive line. That's the sort of play, normally a fullback dive like that, you probably look at 2, 3, 4 yards in that situation. He got that many before he was even touched and followed forward for a nice first down.
Absolutely, he gets 2 yards upfield before he's touched and then he's contacted, but then that Aquinas offensive line pushes him 3, 4 more yards upfield and then he falls forward again. Not
much on that carry, maybe 2 or 3. You can see some chatter on the field after the play. After that initial drive where there was a penalty flag for some of that chatter, we haven't really seen a lot of that today, but as this game gets more competitive, you know that intensity level is going to increase on both sides.
Absolutely, and as the game gets closer to the end, maybe one team is in that kind of desperation mode. They're just looking for anything they can get, and that's when emotions can really flare up even more.
Yeah, St. James kind of in that spot right now. They need to find some sort of stop. Slaughter fights forward. Boone made a great tackle out there, and he stopped him cold. It's going to be a gain of about 1 for Slaughter. 3rd and long. We talked about it earlier. This is where St. Thomas Aquinas really wants to avoid.
For sure, another great stop by Jordan Boone that really sent in the edge. At 3rd and 7, obviously you've got to watch out for that ground game. They easily have the ability to pick up this first down on the ground, but I think you got to be wary of a pass here. This is one of the third and longs, that Aquinas has faced. I think you've got to be wary of a potential pass.
Just going to be Slaughter, bounces outside, fights, and again falling forward, gets 3. He was really stopped at the line of scrimmage there, but falling forward does so much for you, gets him the extra couple yards, but the punt team is going to come on. St. Thomas Aquinas doesn't feel like they're close enough that they can really get this conversion. Up 21-7, probably a smart move.
Yeah, definitely the smart move. And great response by the Thunder defense, after that unfortunate interception. Get the ball right back, give it back to your offense, who before that interception really had been humming. They'd picked up a lot of yards and not that few plays, so it's good to get the ball back to them so they can get some of that confidence back.
High punt here, doesn't go very far, maybe 20 yards up the field. Bounces in St. James' direction. It's going to be down at the 43, so that's how many yards St. James has to go. 43 yards here. Very manageable distance. St. James, they need to find a way to put some points up on the board and fast, because like we talked about, Aquinas, they're going to drain this clock as much as possible. Already 5.5 minutes gone in this 3rd quarter.
First and 10 from the St. 43.
St. James offense ready to go out here. They're starting in that bunch right formation. They've motioned out of this formation most of the time tonight. They're going to do that here, flexing into the quads right. B-Shore is going to look that direction. Crossers open under the middle. B-Shore is going to tuck and run, gets a few. Smart play by B-Shore there. Nothing developed over the middle for him.
Looks like they were could have been looking for maybe a screen to Tujak, get some of those outside defenders out with those wide receiver routes. But that is an interesting look, the 4 to 1 side. Kind of confuses the defense, puts a lot of pressure on one side. A lot of these high school defenses, they really play very balanced. You kind of don't really see a lot of offset coverages. And so when you've got 4 to the strong side, that just really messes with, the linebackers and the secondary.
2nd down and 8 now. Reed kept by B-Shore, gets about 5. It's going to be 3rd and short. When St. James does flex into that 4 right, the St. Aquinas team, they like playing a lot of zone. They mix it up, but it's a lot of zone, and you can really flood the zone with those 4 guys over there. B-Shore, nice run there, gets 5.
Absolutely. If you can get some route combos that force one player to guard 2 men in his zone, you just got to, as the quarterback, as if you're B-Shore, you just got to read that player, which one is he committed towards, and then go to the other one.
So 3rd down and 3, crucial play here for St. James, needing to get the first down. Tujak flex to the left. It's going to be B-Shore on that draw. I think he got the first down. Let's see where they marked him. It was close. Good read by B-Shore on the run. Tackle made there by Joseph Walker.
Another thing that I think St. James could maybe look to exploit, and they have done a few times in this game, is these Aquinas corners, like you said earlier, Will. They start up and press, and then as that cadence begins, they drop off really like 8 to 10 yards deep. So if you can get some quick outs, I think that could be some easy yardage for the Thunder.
Yeah, you see him dropping right there. B-Shore goes to Tujak, lofted in the air. Tujak was open, so makes the catch, makes a man miss, and gets about 8 there for a play that'll set up a 2nd and short. St. James getting really close to that red zone, and once St. James gets there, you have to feel good about at least getting some points on the board if you're the Thunder.
Absolutely, it's going to be really important to convert, like you just said. You get to the red zone, but it's what you do in the red zone that determines the outcome of the game. And I think additionally on this drive, St. James has done a really good job of taking what the defense is giving them. I know we talked about that. I believe it was before the half. That's something they needed to continue to do. And I think they've done a really good job. B Shore looks pretty composed back there in the pocket. O-line has held pretty well enough for him to make his read. And, you know, obviously after the interception, you don't want to force anything, but they've done a really good job of just taking what's there.
Yeah, and more to that point, St. James might be down 21-7. The offense might not have looked great, but I do like the play calling St. James has. I think the concepts are there. They're maybe just not being executed. Tujak up the middle. It's going to be, looks like probably a first down. We'll see what they give him. We're going to say he's stopped about half a yard short by Joey Goodnow. And now St. James, they might go back to that under center sort of QB sneak formation or maybe back to the shotgun. We'll see what St. James elects to do here.
With the way it's been working, I would honestly not be shocked if they went, you know, little bootleg or QB draw here with the way they've been able to pick up 3-4 yards consistently.
B Shore, quick pop pass, incomplete. He had Chase. That might have been a touchdown if he hit him, but unfortunately throws it too far behind him there. That's going to make it a 4th and 1. You have to think St. James wants to go for it here.
There is a flag on the near side of the field. Looks like it will be on the Thunder.
Yeah, probably before the play, I would guess, at that spot.
Potentially a false start. So Aquinas, either they make it 4th and 1 or they make it 3rd and 6.
What would you choose here if you're Aquinas? If those are your options, Jonathan. It's a tough decision, 3rd and 6 or 4th and 1. What would you choose here?
I don't know. I think you make it 4th and 1, which they obviously go with 3rd and 6 here. But I think, you know, St. James at this point in the game is probably going for it on 4th down anyways. So, I mean, you give them another play to get up to that 6-yard line, and maybe they get it. But even if they get that first down, you know, you saw last drive your defense was able to bend but not break. I think you have confidence in them they can maybe hold them to a field goal, but they like to go with 3rd and 6, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and the good news here for St. James, get 2 plays instead of 1 to try to get that first down. B Short, it's going to be back to the quick pass to Tujak. Tujak, he got the first and then some. Fighting forward inside the 15 is John Tujak. That little swing route to the left or to the right, really working well for Tujak this drive.
For sure, that's the second time B Short's gone to it. And I think he is really adapting to this Aquinas defense. You know, that's something we didn't see at all in the first half. And like we said, he's taking his reads, he's taking what's there, and he's seeing, hey, these corners are dropping off, these outside linebackers are flowing in, there's a big green patch over there, I'm just going to dump it off and let Tujak do the rest.
And again, great play calling by the offensive coordinator, Matt Joshi, trying to get his playmakers the ball out in space. It's going to be back to that read option game. B Shore slings off a couple tacklers, gets forward for a couple. It's going to be a 2nd down and 8 here at the 11-yard line. The tough part, if you're St. James, as you keep moving the ball closer and closer to that end zone, that means there's less and less room to work. It means those defenders get tighter, and running the ball just gets a little bit harder for St. James.
Yeah, that's true. And I think maybe this is one of the scenarios where we go back to that rollout game that we're talking about. Getting the ball, you know, obviously Parker Chase got the touchdown and somewhat similar yardage to this at the end of the first half. So I think you got to look for your weapons here.
B Shore goes to his right, pump fakes, has Neeson. Is he going to get into the end zone? He is not. It's going to be close to a first down. He pump faked to wonder who's going on the crossing route. Neeson goes across. He goes to Neeson there. It's going to be really close. Looks like they didn't give him the first. 3rd short, and St. James is going to go quickly up to the line here. 3 minutes left in the 3rd quarter here. St. James down 21-7, but an opportunity to punch it in here. Pitch to Tujak, coming near side. Sheds off a tackler. The O-line didn't give much help there, and Tujak pushed backwards.
Yeah, really nothing Tujak can do on that. You know, he catches, when you catch the pitch and you look up and there's 4 Saints bursting through the gaps in the O-line, you're kind of stuck. Your only goal is to minimize your loss. Like you said, Will, St. James' offensive line needs to step it up, and that was pretty poor blocking, I will say, by the O-line there. They got to step it up here.
So 4th down and 4, the offense is on the field. Looks like the play was just signaled in here. We've talked about it all night, but in situations like this, Sam Neeson, Parker Chase, that's probably where St. James is looking. They're both at the bottom of your screen here. B Short drops back, pressure comes, rolls up in the pocket. He has Tujak bobbled. Oh no, he dropped it. It was tipped, and Tujak dropped it. I think if he caught it, he might have been out of bounds anyway. But what could have been one of the great plays for the Thunder over the past few years, turns out to be an incompletion, and Aquinas is going to come back out there.
The credit to Aquinas there, they had good pressure off the edge. Bishore does a nice job stepping up in the pocket. But like you said, Will, when you get into the red zone, defense tightens up a little bit. Everything's just a little bit harder. They were able to get a tip there. And I would just like to take us back to that drop by Alec Jett in the beginning of this half, because this was a 21-14 game if that doesn't happen. But now it's still 21-7, still down by 2 scores. And another empty red zone trip.
Yeah, I think Bishore and Jett both probably wish they could have that play back. Now Aquinas, quick pitch out to Arndt. Arndt has a bunch of blockers over there, reads the blocks perfectly, still running up the field, backing forward for 15 there for Aquinas. Great run by Cal Arndt.
And you said it, Will. Great blocking over there on the left side by the Aquinas offensive line, as well as the receiver, Jordan Boone. That's a great, strong safety for the Thunder. Usually the one responsible for setting the edge was stuck on a block. So credit to Aquinas for that great blocking there, giving Arndt that nice lane to run.
Yeah, and St. James, we've talked about all night the front 7, right? That's a big area that St. James needs to, have keyed in on this option game. But the corners and safeties really need to be there too, and we haven't seen that a lot tonight. So St. James needs to find a way to clean that up just a little bit. Cal Arndt, he has brought back Max Raquette, a big play. St. James, the D-line hasn't made a lot of big plays today, but it feels like Max Raquette has been the guy making all those plays for the St. James D-line.
Absolutely, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. Big game against Aquinas last year, multiple TFLs, multiple sacks. He's ready for this game. I know, talking to him over the week, he's been hyper-focused on this game. And like we said earlier, he's a star. He's probably getting a little more attention, and maybe that's why we haven't called his name, but he's still there. He's still prevalent. He just held Aquinas to 0 yards.
Here's Slaughter running far side, dynamic athlete. Here he goes, still on his feet. Wow, what kind of strength. We haven't seen that much tonight with Slaughter. It's been a lot of, more inside, in between the tackles, contained runs, but they got him out in space there, and LC Slaughter took advantage of a St. James defense that wasn't ready, and he got the first down.
For sure, and one of the things we also talked about earlier was St. James cannot afford to be missing 3-4 tackles in this game. Obviously, Max Raquette missed in the backfield, but then multiple linebackers and other D linemen, and even a safety can't be missing tackles like that and allowing those extra 7-8 yards on every play.
Up the middle to Arndt. Arndt, he is still on his feet, and there's Hornback. We talked about the secondary. They need to make those tackles potentially a touchdown-saving play by Hornback. But if you're St. James, you don't want to let Arndt get 11 yards without being really face off at all with by a St. James defender like that.
Exactly, and nothing really against the secondary, but just the fact of the matter is they're smaller and Arndt is big. And so when you're relying on your secondary to make those solo tackles, that's just a little bit risky because you never really know. It's not as sure as if it's a linebacker or a lineman.
So St. James and St. Thomas Aquinas, looks like Aquinas is going to take this one to half. St. Thomas Aquinas is rolling, so St. James kind of lucky to get a timeout here, get a break, reset. You want to figure out a way to, get back to where you want to be on defense. End of the third quarter here, Saints 21, Thunder 7. Let's send it over to a quick commercial from St. James. We welcome you into the booth here. I'm Will Nichols alongside Jonathan May. St. James still at the same spot they were at the end of the last quarter, 21-7. They are down. St. Thomas Aquinas has really been rolling this drive. St. James needs to find a way to stop. Maybe a turnover is what St. James could use here as St. Thomas Aquinas really rolling down the field nicely.
Yeah, it would certainly help. And, the 2 empty red zone trips that St. James comes up with, one with the turnover, the other with the turnover on downs, really just the opposite of what they need. They need to convert when they get into that red zone.
And that is a power run right up the middle, gets 6 or 7. And this fourth quarter is when those St. James defenders really being tired like they probably are right now is going to come into effect. St. James is going to rotate a whole lot. You're already seeing that a little bit this game, but you're going to see it a lot more this quarter, I would expect, on defense.
Absolutely. This is about the time of the game when that fatigue is really setting in. I mean, obviously you've got the adrenaline of the fourth quarter, but these guys have really been battling in the trenches, these linemen, all game long. And with the amount of D linemen, especially with the amount of runs that Aquinas does, it's very tiring on them. They can't really go 100% by the end of the game.
Slaughter up the middle, hole opened up, he takes advantage. Here is Slaughter, he is still fighting forward, churning those feet. Charlton finally brings him down. But it feels like every time they've dialed up a run with LZ Slaughter, the senior, it has worked really, really well for Aquinas.
Absolutely. That's the second run on this drive where Slaughter's got 10, 12 yards, and it's not only that, but it's the way he's doing it. He's making guys miss. He's making quick cuts. He's really just kind of carving through this Saints defense. But there's a Thunder defense, excuse me.
1st and 10 now, St. Thomas Aquinas at the 18-yard line. Looks like the quarterback Slaughter had to come out of the game there, so now Carson Patrick, the sophomore, is going to enter the game. Big moment for the sophomore, probably just going to be out for a play, I would guess, but regardless, this is a big moment for the sophomore. We saw that a little bit with St. James last year. Sophomore quarterback Francis Mangini had to enter a game in some tough spots for St. James, and it's just a tough spot to put a sophomore quarterback in. Arndt finally brought back. That's a key first down stop for the Thunder.
It looks like Slaughter will come back into the game. And, you know, on that play, it just didn't look like the normal timing from Aquinas. Obviously, the backup quarterback doesn't really get those first-team reps, but that's a big stop from St. James, holding them to that 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10. Like we talked about, you got to force 2nd, 3rd and longs. And when St. James can do that, good things can happen.
So 2nd down and 9 here after the gain of 1. 10 minutes are on the clock in this one. St. Thomas Aquinas bringing the play down pretty much to less than 10 seconds on the game clock, or on the play clock rather. As much as possible. Slaughter straight up the middle, gets 5 before he is brought back. It's going to make it 3rd and medium for St. Thomas Aquinas.
I think St. James really, like you said, Will, really would need a turnover here if St. James wants a chance in this game, because like you've talked about, Aquinas runs the play clock down pretty far on every play they run, pretty much under 10. And so if you look at the scoreboard, St. James is running out of time, and if they get down by 3 touchdowns here, it's going to be very tough for them to come back. If they can get a takeaway here, however, maybe a quick score, they're right back in this game.
That's where, again, that play that St. James had that would have been a touchdown, you wish they would have executed, because coming back from down 2 scores is going to be really, really hard. 3 scores, pretty much impossible. Arndt fighting for it. He is still on his feet. St. James can't bring him down. Touchdown, Cal Arndt, and he has turned into Superman this game, shedding off defenders, and Aquinas puts up another touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a great run by Arndt. You got to tip your cap to him, the amount of talent, his size, and his speed. It's impressive. It's a Derrick Henry-esque run right there. But again, on that play, St. James, 3-4 missed tackles that could have brought him down. And really, that's kind of been the story of the game. It's been a lot of missed tackles, a lot of first downs that maybe shouldn't actually be first downs, but end up becoming them. Not St. James' finest defensive game.
PAT is up and true, so 28-7 is the score. This St. James defense, they did give up 28 last week. However, pretty much all of those were in the ending moments of that game in the second half. Only gave up really 7 while the game was in a competitive state. But you don't love to see, certainly feels like a little bit of a step back for St. James defense, and frankly the offense only having 7 points with 9 minutes left in this one.
Yeah, and I will say, even though we do only have 7 on the scoreboard, we've had chances, right? We had a drop pass by Jet. We had another red zone trip that comes up empty. We had 2 turnovers in the first half. Could easily have 21 or 28 points on the scoreboard right now. It's just been just mistakes. It's not been a crisp game from the Thunder. It's something they definitely have to clean up going forward.
Yeah, I think this is the type of game where you look at the box score at the end for St. James, and if the St. James score stays low, you maybe wonder, how did St. James have so many yards, so many completions, so many nice plays, and only come away with 7 points? Because like you said, they have had multiple red zone trips this game they haven't taken advantage of with points. Something you certainly hope St. James cleans up in this game and future ones. Kick bobbled forward. That was Puhala on the return there, got to maybe the 15, 16-yard line. And after a nice return from Tujak, the return from Puhala puts St. James in bad field position on this drive.
It's a pretty steep mountain to climb for St. James, but you got to think if they want any chance of this game, this has got to be probably 2-minute drive, 3 minutes at max, and they're going to have to force a turnover too on the defensive side of the ball because, like you said, Will, Aquinas plays a very slow game of football, and St. James is frankly just running out of time.
Yeah, this is where I kind of agree, Jonathan. I think if you're St. James, you almost treat this like a 2-minute drive. You're not subbing a lot. You're trying to go fast, maybe run some hurry up. When you get in a third and short, run the quick QB sneak. You just can't take 30 seconds between plays with what the score being what it is and the opponent being who they are. Beshore is going to roll out of the pocket. He's going to run. Looked like he was going to slide there. Decided to stay on his feet. Got near the first down marker. Believe they probably are going to give him the first. The ref signals for those chains. And Beshore, he's been really, really good on the ground game today for St. James. Something we didn't see a lot last week against Bishop Miege.
Agreed. I think that's really been a spark that we've seen this week is Beshore's legs and his ability to run and get out of some tough situations. You know, we didn't see it a lot last week, but last week his receivers were getting open. He threw 5 touchdown passes. So I think it's just a different dimension of his game that can be used and has to be used in this game.
Quick pass caught. Barely caught there. Brody Brugman. They're going to say it was incomplete. Very well defended on the far sideline. Brody Brugman, we didn't see him really at all last week, was out with an injury, but getting in a little bit, rotating in. St. James last year, they didn't really rotate the receivers much. We've seen 7 guys play, though, and in this game, that's something that brings a little bit of a different aspect to the St. James offense.
Agreed, and I think it's because they believe that they've got that depth. You know, there's not a huge drop-off from wide receiver 3 and 4 to wide receiver 5, 6, or 7. And so they're going to try to keep their guys fresh, like we've talked about on the defensive side of the ball as well.
Beshore has a good pocket. Incomplete. He tried to go to chase. St. James is running a lot of those crossing routes, a lot of mesh routes. And a lot of that just comes down to how well can Beshore and the receiver read each other. And I think we forget sometimes this is a St. James team that struggles sometimes on some of those plays. You're seeing Beshore's second game at St. James. It's going to be a little weird, a little clunky sometimes on some of those mesh routes.
Yeah, and, you know, it was real fluid last week, but like we talked about, the offense didn't really face much adversity last week, and now that they're facing we're seeing how they're responding.
Almost caught there over the middle by Neeson. Tried to go with the one-hand catch and could not. And again, that's another play. Connection just a little off. Beshore, he had a great read there. He tried to lead him forward on the pass, tried to make it easier for Neeson. Neeson tried to stop the route because he was open. So again, you just got to read that better, both the receiver and the quarterback. It's tough, but that's really a key part of playing offense.
Yeah, it is tough. And, you know, Beshore, there was a lot of pressure. The pocket was kind of collapsing on him when he made that throw, just a little bit high and behind Sam Neeson. But like you said, Will, the connection between Beshore and his receivers looked really sharp last week. And I think that's going to be St. James' kind of X factor going forward, is that connection between their very good receivers and Tyson Beshore. And hopefully next game they can kind of get back to it this week in practice. You know, I mean, I hate to use this as an excuse, but it is senior retreat week, right? All of our seniors missed one practice, didn't really get a lot of sleep, had a tiring retreat. And I'm not saying this game would have gone a lot different if they didn't, but they missed reps, they missed practice time, and I think that's definitely a factor to be considered in this game.
Yeah, it certainly provides a lot of context for this performance. I think this is a very senior-heavy team on St. James. And one of the things that always happens after a retreat, right, guys aren't sleeping well, whatever this happens. There's a lot of sickness as well. A lot of guys get sick. A lot of that's happening with the team. So, again, it's little things. It doesn't really affect the game. St. James probably is going to lose either way if they play like this, but that might help explain maybe why some of their players are getting more tired, stuff like that. And Arndt is still fighting. My goodness, this kid is really tough. It feels like St. James needs 5 guys to bring him down every time.
Yeah, you know it's tough when Hank Schreiner and Max Arquette, 2 of the best tacklers on the team, have him wrapped up together and still can't bring him down. You know, it's kind of been that kind of game for the defense. They've shown bright spots. They've had plays where they've held them 1-2 yards. But it's been a lot of just, they're like 90% there, and that extra 10% is what's really been their difficulty in this game.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it, Jonathan. They are really close, 28-7, but it feels like this has been a more competitive game, at least to me. But it feels like Aquinas just has a little extra edge, a little extra something that's really helping them move forward. Again, a great run by Cal Arndt, probably got the first there. And this O-line, you cannot say enough about it for Aquinas. They are absolutely dominating the St. James D-line. After St. James D-line really showed out with 6 sacks last week against Marco Rodriguez, this week big step back for that position group.
Absolutely, and you know, like you said, you got to give props to the Aquinas offensive line. They played a very solid game. You know, not really a lot of communication breakdowns. Their job is pretty straightforward. They just kind of run forward and go block. But even with a simple game plan, it's still got to be executed. And really, they've been winning that line of scrimmage battle that I talked about pregame. The advantage has clearly been to them, and you can see the result.
Yeah, and that's really, last week it felt like it was the exact opposite way, right? Offensive, defensive line, that's what won the game for St. James, right? A lot of other guys stepped up, but it was those position groups. This game feels like the exact opposite. It feels like in some ways those position groups are losing the game. And it feels like St. James really needs to recover on some of those areas. Let's send it over now for a quick story on Red Thursday.
He wanted to thank us for being all in for this year, and he wanted to have us have some fun spirit. So he building up some community. He gave us the Jeans Day, and he gave us the Chiefs Day.
It was the best news I had all day. I was like, wow, this is gonna be so great. So yeah. But then, of course, this morning I was like picking out my outfit and stuff, and I had forgotten. So Mrs. Wright had my back, and she was like, remember, it's Chiefs stuff today. So
finally get to see the Chiefs play again.
Yeah. Hey.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Natalie Muehlberger, for making that happen.
Nah, go Broncos.
And we welcome you back here. St. James down 28-7, 6:41 remains in the fourth quarter in this game. Aquinas has the ball at their own 45, looking to march into St. James territory. It's been a dominant rushing attack for Aquinas. Cal aren't leading the way. They haven't really needed anyone else tonight. And here's Slaughter, the quarterback, probably one of the other best runners this game. He fights forward for 9.5 yards there. Takes 3 or 4 tacklers, including Brady Boydston, to bring down for the Thunder. And now Slaughter is going to bring St. Thomas Aquinas to a second and short.
I know we've talked a lot about Tyson and his ability to use his legs in those quarterback draw, but really this Aquinas quarterback draw game has been even better. LJ Slaughter, obviously a great athlete, has 7+ yards almost every time it seems when they go for it. And his ability to make defenders miss is really unparalleled to anyone else in this game.
Yeah, it's really rare to see an option quarterback built like him. 6'4", 200 pounds. He is a big guy to have running the option. So in open space, really difficult to bring down. There's a nice run moving forward, gets about 10. That was Bryson Taylor, the backup fullback for Aquinas. You see they're starting to rotate some guys. That's when you know a game like this really starts to get away from the losing team in St. James.
Yeah, when a team that's up starts bringing in their backup player, starts getting those kind of second team in practice reps out there, you know you're kind of in a tough spot, and no matter really what you do, like we've talked about, Aquinas very slow pace of play, only 5.5 minutes left. It's really getting to be to that unattainable point no matter what for the Thunder.
Yeah, and looking at the St. Thomas Aquinas team, they're probably trying to keep some of their guys healthy, but you want to see what else you can bring in, because Arndt isn't going to run like this every single game, you would think. Only got a couple there. Did Taylor, the backup, on his second carry of the night. Jack Bevitt in on the tackle for St. James.
And I know a lot before the commercial break we were talking about really the offensive line, really just the line play on both sides of the ball for the Thunder, and just how much that affects the game. You know, obviously on the offense, if you can't protect the quarterback, you can't hit those downfield routes that were so deadly last week. On defense, if you can't stop the run, they get to that second level, all of a sudden less sure tacklers are making tackles. They're marching the ball down the field a lot easier. So it's really that line play that's got to step up for the Thunder.
Yeah, and again, guys get tired. It's not an excuse, it's just the reality. St. James really struggling with their health. Slaughter gets off Raquette's tackle, but Raquette slowed him down enough so that Hornback and Boone could contribute, make the play there. It's going to make it 3rd and 5 now for Aquinas.
I think if you're St. James here, you know, we kind of talked about this a lot last year at the end of games. Really, you're just looking for something that you can hang your hat on at the end of this game, whether it be offensively or defensively. You're just looking for a bright spot that you can take and build on in practice this week, that you can, you know, watch back on film and implement maybe in the next game.
Absolutely. That's really the key these last 4 or 5 minutes in a game like this. You're almost certainly going to lose as Taylor gets the ball off the pitch. He is still running up the field. Hornback brings him down. It looks like a hold from the Saints there. But like you said, you're trying to get guys rotated in. Game 2 of the season, guys still maybe aren't in the tip-top conditioning. You obviously know Coach Radke is trying to get him to that space and has been for the past couple months, but they're maybe not there yet. So this is a good opportunity. Guys need game reps, frankly. No matter what level you're at, no matter how much experience you have on a high school field, any high schooler is going to need game reps, and that's really valuable for St. James right now.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not only, I mean, obviously it's a case of injury this year, but then next year as well, you know, obviously you want great football teams aren't just great one year, they're great for years in a row. So you need kind of to start building that foundation for who is going to be your starters next year. And this is, you know, prime time to do it. 4 minutes left, you're up by 3 scores. No better time.
Well, this is one of those things. If you got a guy that can play football, he's going to get in no matter what in this game. And for the St. James team, frankly, you got depth. You might as well use it if you're St. James, right? So this is a time for some of those guys that maybe don't play as much. They get an opportunity to show what they're about. And that is a perfectly ran triple option. Callahan, we haven't seen much of him. This Drury brought him down. We haven't seen much of Callahan. He factored into the game nicely last year for Aquinas in their game. But Callahan, one of the few returners coming back, ran for over 250 yards last year for Aquinas, and also a really solid pass catcher as well.
Absolutely, and I mean, really, like you said, we haven't seen a lot of him. We haven't really seen a lot of anyone except for Art and Slaughter. It's kind of been a two-man show on offense, and it's worked for the Saints. They really haven't had a reason to go anywhere else because St. James has proved that it's very difficult to stop just those two on their own.
5 on the play clock. Slaughter. That's what I talked about earlier, right? That QB sneak. It felt like 3, 4, 5 times last year. They got it for a game similar to that, and I can't think of anything more demoralizing. If you're a defense, you see a guy under center, you're ready for the QB sneak, and then they just absolutely bulldoze through you. It's a terrible feeling if you're St. James.
I know. That play right there sort of sums up the game right there. I mean, a play that should go for 1, 2 yards that ends up going for 5. Because your line is kind of getting pushed around. Maybe you miss another tackle. It's kind of been the story of the game for the Thunder. But I will agree with what you said earlier, Will. This game has felt a lot closer than what the scoreboard shows.
Taylor gets it up the middle. Dreiling spinning him around. Dreiling doesn't finish the tackle, but they blow the play dead. Dreiling had a good week 1, multiple sacks for St. James. Been kind of quiet in this game, though. But this is a sort of offense where guys that play well in one game maybe aren't going to play well in the next game because this offense, it makes you think a lot more, and frankly, the offense that they play in this flex bone triple option, it dictates who they want to run at. So maybe this team, they haven't been running at Dreiling and Requette, the DNs, as much. They've been running more up the middle, and that's why we've been calling those guys' names maybe a little more than the edge defenders for St. James.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's their game plan, is run it up the middle, and this might not be in their heads, but our 2 interior defensive linemen are both juniors, and a little bit of inexperience there. I'm not saying that's why they're running up the middle. I think even if we had 2 seniors there, they'd still be doing it. But that's something to keep in mind. Maybe that's in the back of Aquinas' heads, and that's why they're purposely avoiding Requette, who had a great game against Aquinas last year. Dreiling, a very explosive athlete.
Yeah, and I think you said it, Jonathan, right? They're going to be running up the middle no matter what. You saw it last year, right? They ran for 230 yards with Gianni Risi with 2 senior D tackles that played almost the entire game. So they're going to run the ball up the middle no matter what. But this St. James team is especially not well suited to stop that with as much inexperience as they have at D tackle, as much talent as they have at D end. It really hurts St. James when Aquinas tries to run the ball up the middle as much as they do today. Aquinas got it down to 1 on the play clock and called timeout there. Now let's send it over to a quick commercial. We welcome you back here to the Thunder Broadcasting Network, 28-7 Saints on top of the Thunder, 3rd down and 10. Don't forget TBN Game Day Live, the new pregame show for the Thunder Broadcasting Network, debuted this week before our game, about 20 minutes before. Be sure to tune in every week around 6:35 to 6:40 to watch TBN pregame live. St. James plays Blue Valley Northwest next week. That should be a really good challenge for the Thunder. They've had a lot of struggles with that team historically in the past. One of the best teams in the state of Kansas.
I think that'll be a really good test for a lot of things we talked about this week. which is that line, the offense and defensive line. Obviously, they've got great left tackle in Andrew Babaloa, so it'll be really interesting how the defensive line chooses to attack them.
There's a nice run for a few for Aquinas. That's one thing we didn't talk about in this game. Juju Marks was a standout player for Aquinas last year. Maybe didn't produce a ton, but he's getting a lot of attention from colleges. Ultimately ended up committing to Kansas, but Juju Marks, really good player for Aquinas, was looking to have a breakout year. He transferred. He went to Olathe South, so now he starts at tackle on Olathe South. That's just one thing that, again, a Varsity for Aquinas that they've really handled nicely, not having a guy like Juju Marks out there playing as like they probably would have expected if they would have asked them a year ago about this. We're entering in on the last minute of the game. Aquinas is just going to run it down and call timeout once again. Probably going to try to get this first down, then kneel on it, I would guess. But regardless, this score is final for St. James pretty much. They're going to lose 28-7, you would think. In St. James, you're looking for stuff to build off of this week. The line play really wasn't great, but that one drive, St. James got the touchdown in. They got into the red zone a couple other times, so they've had scoring opportunities. It's more about executing it in the future for St. James.
For sure. You said it, Will. They've been able to get into the red zone. Obviously, they had the scoring drive to end the half, then they had 2 more red zone drives in that third quarter that came up empty, but I think in practice this week, that's got to be something you work on, is that red zone efficiency. Maybe you just give the ball to the players at the 20 and say, go score a touchdown, you know. They've got to find a way to convert in the red zone, because that's how you win games. You don't win games by having empty trips, and while it's possible to win games kicking 4 or 5 field goals, it's not really how you want to do it. You want to be scoring a touchdown almost every time you're in the red zone. Or at least coming away with some points.
Yeah, ideally you're probably getting 80-85% of your possessions. You're putting up points of some kind. Ideally, probably 60-50% of the time, something like that, you're putting up touchdowns, right? That's kind of where you want to live. St. James hasn't really lived there the past 2 games. They didn't struggle with it a lot last week. They've struggled with it a lot this week. And a lot of that can just be attributed to how they've done on 3rd and 4th down, really struggle in those areas on offense and defense. You're seeing them go QB sneak on 4th and 4. Didn't work, but I mean, pretty much no other team in the state of Kansas, I think, is calling a QB sneak on 4th and 4, but this Aquinas team, it's a good play call. Ultimately doesn't work out for them, though.
And even if they do, you don't really have faith that they can make it 4 yards, whereas, I mean, we saw in this game LZ Slaughter picking up 5-6 yards on a QB sneak. It's just different, and like you said, Will, great play really all around from Aquinas. It's been a really complete game. Got to give them credit. They've looked solid all around. The offensive line has obviously been amazing. I know I talked about pregame how St. James was looking to exploit their potentially weak secondary, and they've held up really well. Really no big plays downfield, really only the one touchdown catch from Parker Chase and maybe a few more here and there, but it's been a really solid game all around for Aquinas. Got to give them credit. They came in prepared, knowing exactly what they need to do, and executed it very well.
St. James not much on the run up the middle there. Francis Mangini's entered the game as the backup quarterback, so St. James has seen enough for B-Shore getting their backup. Just a couple extra snaps under his belt here. Looks like St. James probably is going to be content with letting this clock run out. Game clock's maybe 1 second ahead of the play clock, so 28-7 is going to be our final score here. St. Thomas Aquinas running all over St. James. Last year, this game was a 21-6 loss for the Thunder. This year, 28-7, and a disappointing Game 2 for St. James.
Absolutely, and especially because, you know, obviously it's a rivalry game, so it's going to sting just a little bit more losing to Aquinas, but a lot of our guys were very confident coming into this game. They felt like this was as good of a chance as really they've ever had to take down Aquinas. To come out and have the scoreboard not really reflect how close the game felt, it's got to feel bad for them.
Absolutely, you don't love to have a game like this. You got so much momentum last week, it felt like, right? 44-28, but really a dominant win over a not bad Bishop Miege team, a team that's young, but a lot of talent over there at Bishop Miege. So you feel like you said, Jonathan, I think the guys were confident. They felt like they had a chance to make something happen here today. And ultimately they could not. Welcome you into the booth here. St. James falls 28-7 to St. Thomas Aquinas. Remember, tune in to the TBN Game Day Live pregame show at about 6:40 next week. St. James takes on Blue Valley Northwest next week. What are some things St. James needs to clean up before that next game, Jonathan?
Well, we've been saying it all night, but it's the line play, because I think that really defined the game. That was one of the keys I talked about before the game, is winning that line of scrimmage battle, really being the team that comes out on top in the trenches. And St. James really just couldn't do that tonight. There's no really way to put it lightly. Aquinas was just better in that area, and you saw how it affected their run game, how St. James' offense was stagnant a lot of times because of it. So I think they really have to clean that up. And I know you made a comment, Will, that you really liked the play calling in this game, and I'd agree with that. But, I mean, Parker Chase not having a really big game. He did have the touchdown, but only a few catches. I think you got to keep getting the ball to your playmakers in space.
Yeah, last week, Tyson Beshore, first game at St. James, he looked so poised, so confident, and he really looked like he blended into this offense and really did a good job of being connected with his receivers, connected with his play callers. This game didn't really feel that way, right? Parker Chase, you talked about, didn't get involved, but like him and Beshore, him and Sam Neeson, right? Those guys, the connection just wasn't there that maybe has been there in the past. So that's something St. James is going to need to figure out. Like you said, that line play, St. James going up against Andrew Babalola, one of the top grade recruits, not just in the state of Kansas, but in the entire country. This guy's getting offers all over the country. So we will talk about that more next week. Again, remember, tune in on the Thunder Broadcast Network. St. James loses 28-7 to St. Thomas Aquinas. We'd like to thank all of our people helping us behind the scenes today, our producers, camera people, directors, and everyone else that's been here to help us out. Alongside Jonathan May, I'm Will Nichols. Good night, Thunder.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause to the St. James Thunder for that public prayer and that show of good sportsmanship.
This broadcast is a product of St. James Academy. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of the pictures and accounts of this Thunder Broadcasting Network production without the express written consent of St. James Academy is prohibited.
We opened the doors to St. James Academy in August of 2005 with an established mission of passing on the Catholic faith to the next generation while creating disciples for Jesus. 18 years later, that mission has remained the foundation of all we do at St. James Academy. With that foundation, St. James Academy has grown into a leader in Catholic education through excellent academics, premier arts, athletics and activities, and a culture that thrives through our community system and formation of young people. In the spring of 2020, the St. James Academy Board of Trustees and Administration began the process of creating a 3-year strategic plan. It quickly became apparent that facility needs on our campus were a priority, and the need to complete a campus-wide master plan was key to our future. This master plan created a roadmap for St. James. Today, we are sharing preliminary project plans with you, focusing on those that are a priority to our community. Our future is bright, and we are excited to share more. The performing arts play an essential role in the development of students. Music, dance, and theater foster creativity, confidence, and discipline. As our student body has grown, more students are participating in the arts, adding to the richness and vibrancy of St. James. The areas where we can improve are more evident than ever. Our dining hall is transformed each fall to build a stage for the musical, with a makeshift orchestra pit in the gathering space. Our choir concerts also take place in this space, utilizing acoustical shells to enhance the sound quality as best we can. For our band concerts, we frequently rent spaces off campus to allow for enough space on the stage for all band members. The Cultural Events Center will provide a dedicated, acoustically sound space for rehearsals and performances for up to 550 guests, with the supporting spaces our students need to improve their skills and to showcase their talents. A lobby will serve as a pre-theater gathering space and a flexible space to be used for all staff meetings and other needs. Additionally, our goal is to also move our art classrooms into this area of the campus to better highlight the arts projects created by our students. At St. James, football is not only a successful program, but also a way for our young men to build character, perseverance, and teamwork, all values that will benefit them throughout their lives. Despite its popularity, hosting varsity football games is currently impossible due to seating capacity of only 300. As a result, we primarily host these games at Bishop Miege. While we can accommodate most soccer matches, JV and freshman football and other sports with smaller attendance, seating for visitors is limited, and we must rely on the existing bathroom facilities in our science wing for events. The plan for completing the stadium includes seating for 2,500 on the home side, which is the west side of Clare Road, and bleachers for 1,000 visitors on the east side. The proposed press box will accommodate scorekeepers, broadcasting, and coaches. Locker rooms for both teams, a training room, and officials' restrooms will be located at the north end of the field, with a ticketing window attached on the west end of the building. Plans are being developed for a crucifix and other expressions of Catholic identity, including a grotto, around this area of campus, to be certain our mission is present both off